My
It sucks from over the next one.
Yeah, with my PC, I use one PC. I happen to have two monitors, but I only use one PC, and it's not fully decked out.
Yeah.
It's got some nice stuff. It's got 32 gigs of RAM. It's got a, what is it, GTX 980 Ti, which is not even close to being the new one, but I mean, it's still a nice video card. It's got an ASRock's killer X99X motherboard, and I've got two solid-state drives and one 2 terabyte hard disk drive. So it's a decent enough setup for the next few years easily. But I stream and capture everything on one PC that costs $1,300. So why is it that he? Yeah, so why is it that? And I do mine in 1080p 60 frames per second. So I'm wondering why he's not able to A, do anything in 1080p 60 frames per second, and
Because he doesn't care.
Yeah, why he's certainly not able to stream PC games because, I would need two PCs for that. What reason do you need two PCs? Yes, it does make some things smoother and easier, especially if you're trying to get into the editing process and do live video editing and cropping and stuff like that. Sure, I can understand the necessity for two PCs at that juncture, but I mean, really, Ninja started off until fairly recently streaming off of one PC. Most of the partners that I know on Twitch stream off of one PC. You know, and the ones that don't very specifically have the specifications of both their streaming PC, which is usually not as hardware intensive, and their gaming PC, and they show the specs of both rigs. But the ones that don't are like, hey, this is the computer I use. Not computers, the computer I use. This is it. And yet for some reason he's like, oh, no, it's fucking impossible. There's no way I could ever stream, and I stream fairly graphically intensive games at times. Like, WoW is not necessarily graphically intensive unless I'm in a raid. But, like, Path of Exile can get kind of crazy. Diablo 3 can get kind of crazy. Shit, I streamed Crysis 3 on max settings with no problem. No lag, no jitteriness, nothing untoward as far as looking at the stream quality as I watch because I watch my own stream on the second monitor just to make sure that things don't become pixelated and jittery or that it's lagging or skipping frames or anything like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's do this.
Welcome to the Gentleman's Club podcast. I am Agent Proper, and I am joined live today with Declan Reed and Robin for now, and hopefully GTG can get back to us pretty soon. He's out grabbing some supplies. Gentlemen, how are you today?
I'll let Robin go first. Robin, how are you?
I was letting you go first. I'm doing pretty good. Chilling out, catching up on DSP shit because it sounds like some shit went fucking down last night. Yeah, I was unaware that this was fucking going down.
I do like the fact that we are all ever the gentleman by letting one another go first.
Right.
For just proper etiquette.
It's just like, I think it was. Nah, I won't go into that. That's a meaningless story. But it's just like, all right, how are you guys doing? Oh yeah, you go. You go. I insist.
Yeah, doctor.
Zephyr hasn't seen that movie.
That is impressive. Zypher needs to get on that and see that film immediately.
Right?
But to answer your question, Proper, I'm doing quite fine as well. I am really enjoying the fallout associated, or we can call it fall gout, if we want to start the day off right with some cheesy DSP puns. And just all of this associated with the demodding and banning of DarkSydePhil. I don't even know what his most popular name was. He renamed himself so many times that I kind of found it difficult to stay apprised as to who he was. He was, for one time, the bottom line, DSP post counter, DarkSydePhil.
Right.
I can't even remember what his original name was. It was something fairly innocuous.
Mm-hmm.
But this whole situation seems to really be indicative of the fact, especially with, I don't want to spoil anything as we get further along into the podcast, but some of the stuff, just a little appetizer for those watching to whet the appetite. Some of the stuff that's been revealed on the good old farms is that apparently he's not the only mod that is starting to wake up from the pignosis. As he said that they were toxified, and people asked for clarification, and he responded with the fact that they're not becoming more toxic. That's just that toxified is that poison that you get that wakes you up from the pignosis. And some big names, won't spoil it, but some big names that are almost synonymous with DSP as far as his modship are concerned, are on the cusp of leaving.
Good. That'd be fucking funny.
Yeah, and this happened pretty much since this whole Jasper reveal. And it's been a pretty solid week, I would say. We had that fantastic scam, which I still am just dumbfounded about how much money he raked in.
Right. And how much money he raked in so much money on top of having Planet Jeff to guarantee the reveal. So basically
Planet Jeff guaranteed.
He went in knowing he was going to reveal the cat that day. And he was just trying to fish for more money. And then if he didn't get it, have Planet Jeff come in and... Sorry, I have a paintbrush that I throw around and practically conduct with while I'm recording. It's just like... I make hand motions all the time, and it helps me record, you know what I mean?
You gesticulate with a hand brush? That's really interesting, actually. Hey, everyone has what works.
Like, I only feel bad about it because sometimes I'll accidentally, like, tap something, and I'm like, that's on the recording, and that's not good. I need to stop that. So, but a lot of times I do, like, kind of gesticulate with my hands, and a lot of times just with the paintbrush, just because I can be like, and then this, and that, and there, and a lot kind of makes it more animated, you know what I mean?
You know, that actually gives me not to stray from the path of what's going on here, because we should focus on the Jasper reveal. But what you could do is you could actually go on a rant about DSP, and I would suggest doing it on Mixer so that you don't get like a Twitch account banned or something like that. But you should put a few colors of paint on the brush and aim it roughly in the area of a canvas, and then create a piece of modern art that would be a visual representation of how pissed off DSP makes you. And that probably would sell for a good bit of money.
Let's see, here's some red, some red, some red, some red, some black.
Exactly. We're gonna work with a happy little shade of red and some more red. This is in fact goat's blood.
And then I'm just going to take this entire can of dark red. This is actually hex 170 and 2 zeros, and then I'm just going to throw it at the canvas like a hand grenade.
Hey, that would work. That would work probably as well. I've seen some pieces of modern art that, not to get too far off the beaten path, but really quick, for people that don't know, I grew up in Philly, so I went to the Philadelphia Museum of Art, or the Philadelphia Art Museum, where Rocky used to stand. And there was a piece of modern art there that sold for $5 million called The Shield of Achilles. And it looks like a 5-year-old took a handful of Crayola crayons, all different colors, and just drew in a circle repeatedly. And there was a placard underneath this piece of art that explained exactly what the piece meant, because there was no fucking way you would tell what the piece meant just by looking at it. And it had the most pseudo-intellectual Well, where the orange crosses the blue, that's peace coming into contact with conflict, and where the red meets the pink, it means this. And the piece sold for $5 million.
Was it
So
that?
you would never. I'm taking a look. Yeah, it looks very similar to that. Yes, it looks quite similar to what. For those of you playing the home game, watching the podcast either live or later on after this gets loaded up to Agent Proper's channel, I was just linked something on Discord where it looks quite similar. In fact, that might actually be the real piece.
That'd be fucking great.
I'm not entirely sure if that is or not, but that's also what frightens me, is I'm not entirely sure if it is or not.
Now to describe it to you guys out there just listening, it's a circular scribble of red. Like if you just ran your hand in a circular motion several times in red and then just switched it to a blue and did it just a little bit left of it, and you're good. And just stop whenever you're ready and you're done. Modern art.
Honestly, I think a pretty appropriate thing is if it was just a featureless face of the Kool-Aid Man wearing a sideswept pompadour.
God damn it.
I mean, because that's the best way I can describe it.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, it's just a featureless face of the Kool-Aid Man wearing a sideswept pompadour. That was blue hair, because apparently the Kool-Aid Man became a radical feminist. So the hair dye was necessary. But to get onto this Jasper thing, one thing I found out that was really interesting was the amount of money that he received after the Tier 2 goal was not hit. And what I mean by not hit is the fact that there was supposed to be a Tier 2 stretch goal if he happened to make $2,000, which he did with Planet Jeff's Grand. And then flat out said that there wasn't going to be a Tier 2 goal. The Tier 2 goal was going to be something if they had met it earlier on in the day, so basically he was blaming his fans for not paying up early enough.
Oh,
but
blow me.
Yeah,
the closest thing to a Tier 2 goal that he had was he said, sometimes I'll leave the door open so that Jasper can join us on evening streams.
In the chill streams, dude.
Yeah, just the chill streams, because when he's focusing on AAA titles, he can't have the cat running around doing all sorts of crazy shit and scaring him or distracting him or whatever. So that ostensibly became his Tier 2 goal, was, the thing I was going to do anyway, I'm just going to say that's now the Tier 2 goal, is now for $2,000, not only do you know that I have a cat, but maybe sometimes if you're lucky, you'll actually see the cat. But after he reached this Tier 2 nothing burger of a goal, you still had people giving him, I want to say, somewhere to the tune of $250 to $300 after they realized that they had thoroughly been scammed. I mean, people sending $50 and $100 tips that said, fuck the trolls, fuck the detractors, I'm so happy for you that you have a cat. And again, this isn't a new cat. This is a cat he's had for somewhere north of 8 months, I want to say. So is it 8 months to a year?
I thought it was 10.
He said a year.
Yeah,
he said a year in his chat.
Right. Okay, so he said a year in his chat. So he's had the cat for a year. And that's another thing. I don't know if you guys saw, but on Twitter, someone had stated if he did in fact have the cat for a year, and the cat is roughly 2 years old, which DSP stated.
That's a lie.
Yeah,
I've owned cats all my life. No, that cat is about a year old, give or take. That is not a 2-year-old cat.
It's probably
no
not.
way.
I've also grown up around cats. I would say that it's probably a little bit younger than 2 years. But just for the sake of
we're talking
argument,
like a year and maybe 2 months.
Right. Well, let's say that he's telling the truth, which is really a stretch. I mean, but let's say that he's telling the truth and the cat is roughly 2 years old. There was somewhere on Twitter.
We got to keep it into frame too, though. We're talking about a guy who lied about flying his girlfriend out for tax money. He lied about his wedding in Connecticut, And apparently
Correct.
he lied about this cat, too. So what is he not
Correct.
going to lie about? That's the issue now.
Well, this is purely playing devil's advocate here. This is, in an alternate universe where DSP is capable of telling the truth. Let's say that the cat is 2 years old. There was someone on Twitter that had worked in an animal shelter for 15 years and said that they don't accept cats that are declawed that young. That there's just laws against it, and there's guidelines for animal shelters against it, that they do not accept cats that would have come in at that age declawed, nor would most veterinarians declaw a cat while that young. So the prevailing wisdom is that if the cat is in fact as old as DSP claims it is, that he is 100% lying about the fact that the cat was declawed at the shelter, and it's far more likely that he got the cat declawed so that it didn't mess up his stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying on the video that I did with LSB on Wednesday.
Same thing when I talked about it.
You cut out there real quick.
No, I'm just saying it was the same thing when I talked about it, too, during my live investigation.
Oh, okay.
And it's remarkable for him to really have the gall. I mean, I don't know why I'm surprised anymore, so I shouldn't say the gall on this man, the audacity. But really, for him to be so self-righteous and sit on, almost want to call it pomp and circumstance, where he sits there and goes on this diatribe about how declawing a cat is animal cruelty, and you are, for lack of a better term, removing actual parts of their body, that it's like cutting fingers down to the knuckle, and it's great harm to the cat. When
and it is.
Signs, yeah, which it is. It absolutely is. I did have a cat declawed once. I will never do it again. We were very young when it happened, and had I known better, I would have prevented my parents from doing so. The funny thing is that cat, may he rest in peace, his name was Bonsai, coincidentally, which means may I live 10,000 years in Japanese, and he died just before his 21st birthday. He was he was a very old cat, and he was awesome.
Old bastard.
We declawed him just his front paws, and DSP claims that when you declaw even just their front paws, that they are defenseless. I can tell you from experience that this is not true, because in Philly we have a lot of feral cats, and there was a feral cat that used to torture him by being right outside the window and taunting him. And Bonsai was, for lack of a better term, retarded. He was taken away from his mother at 2 weeks, so he didn't get the nutrients necessary to develop his brain. But we called him Gump Kitty because he was the most loving retarded cat you could possibly imagine. He wasn't bright, but he was very empathetic. And he saw a feral cat as endangering his territory. Oh, that's a cat that's going to hurt my family. So one day Bonsai got out, and that cat, being a feral cat, knew how to scrap. The next thing I knew, Bonsai had this cat's jugular in his throat, had forced the cat to wear him like a fucking neck pillow, and was clawing the other side of his neck with his hind claws.
What the fuck?
Oh yeah, I had to pull out a high pressure hose to get Bonsai off this cat, or he was going to kill it.
That is some metal shit. What the fuck?
It was metal as fuck. This is the same cat, mind you, not to go on like cat stories, but this is the same cat that when the cops showed up at our place, which was for no like actual real reason. It was they were doing some checks in the neighborhood for I forget what, but they showed up at our place. My mom invited them in since they were strangers and they appeared aggressive because cops have an aggressive temperament. Bonsai was snarling at them, and he never snarled. And the cop had to politely ask us to put away our attack cat before. Yeah, can you kindly put away your attack cat before we are forced to take action against it? And I had to bring Bonsai into like the other room and close the door and say, "Hey, buddy, calm down. Like they're just doing routine checks. It's okay. There's nothing to worry about."
How could you say the words attack cat and think you just said the dumbest thing ever?
Well, I mean, if it was like a puma, I could understand, but he was just a Maine Coon.
That's not an attack cat. That's a goddamn puma.
Yeah.
What about Mike Tyson's tigers? I mean, I call those attack cats.
Those are battle cats. Yes.
Those, like, literally speaking, you are correct. But we're talking like a house cat.
Red Fuck, I love your statement. Bonsai was the truest meower in the game. Paul Hops, yes, he was. He was fantastic.
The entire lad.
Yes, he was. He was the entire lad. And yeah, I mean, DSP's claim that an animal with their front paws clawed cannot defend themselves is just absolutely false. And I do fervently believe that he declawed the cat because he didn't want his precious status symbol furniture or his statues or anything else marked up, and then still has the audacity to say that it's animal cruelty.
Don't wreck his boomer IKEA furniture.
And that's literally DSP on everything. DSP will say one thing and then do something completely different if he thinks it suits him. Literally nothing DSP says actually matters if DSP thinks it can benefit him.
That is absolutely true, and I'm gonna have to disagree with you, Agent, on one thing, that it's IKEA furniture. I don't think Jasper's the only reason that we haven't been given a house tour. I honestly believe that love seat, that crusty, filthy, semen-stained, oops, the camera was on love seat, is the only old or old-ish piece of furniture in that condo.
I don't doubt that one bit.
I wouldn't be surprised if he has like a $1,500 to $1,700 wraparound couch in the living room.
I guarantee it's a brand new one. As soon as Cat moved in and he got a little bit of that extra money, that Emerald 7 money that disappeared.
Or maybe it was some of his fucking. Maybe it was some of the money he got from his fucking mom.
That too. His mom gave him that tax money and apparently gave him money for a cat tower too. I mean, Mama Brunel's pockets seem a little deeper than we've been hearing.
Oh, for someone who's struggling to make ends meet because why she could never get to come up and leave Connecticut.
Also, they told him that they would help cover vet bills if little Jasper got sick.
Which is so...
And that's not cheap. I mean, it seems that we've all grown up with pets. Vet bills are not cheap, especially depending on what the condition is.
Mm-hmm.
Bonsai passed from renal failure, and we were lucky. We had a wonderful veterinarian who did a free little kitty autopsy, remarkably enough, because as I mentioned before, he wasn't given the proper nutrients because he was taken away from his mother way too young and actually sold at the pet store way too young. He was actually born with only one functioning kidney. They have no idea how long he would have lived if he had had both kidneys from the outside. But just to go in for renal failure, that was something to the tune of about $800 to go in and get the medication for that and try to keep him at least comfortable until we knew that it was time to put him down because his quality of life had just degraded to the point where it was poor.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's an $800 vet bill. So if Mama Burnell goes, if little Jasper gets sick, short-haired American tabbies do have a propensity to fall ill to some serious illnesses, including but not limited to the cat form of diabetes, brain cancer. Brain cancer is rather prevalent in American short-haired tabbies.
Strange,
that's a serious illness. In fact, oddly enough, our last cat that we had, which was not an American short-haired tabby, it was a Norwegian forest cat, she passed from brain cancer. And just to get the scans and everything for that was something roughly to the tune of $1,100.
So, Red Fuck over here gave us an interesting little insight. If you pay attention to his Instagram post here with Jasper, he is on a little bit of a different couch here. You see the different couches and the different furniture? If we go back in time, we might be able to compare and figure out that maybe that is new furniture.
Huh.
That one, the upper right picture that I'm looking at right now, because I am watching the stream. And
the kitty fort.
Same.
Yeah, the kitty fort there. That upper right picture, I actually want to say I know the brand of that couch.
Jesus, okay.
Which is weird because I know really weird things. I'd be pretty good at Jeopardy.
Checks out.
But I believe that's a Sonoma couch, and I want to say that that's like a Sonoma microfiber couch that they sell in a dark gray. There's one that is. Let me see if this is. I mean, this looks remarkably similar, at least in color and texture, that I'm looking at right now. And I don't know if this is the Sonoma brand or not, but it's a microfiber 3-seat couch. Looks similar in size, and this sells for $1,199.
Woo! That's a pretty penny.
Retail price is $2,000. What I'm looking at right now is a sale where I saved $801 if I were to purchase it today.
Oh, thanks,
Good
Planet Jeff.
grief. Planet Jeff's on.
Yeah, that's. I mean, you could always say that that's where the money's gone.
Yeah,
bullshit.
Again, he wouldn't show us a house tour because he's hiding stuff in his house, like maybe a new car, new furniture, new refrigerator, huh?
And
what else could he be hiding?
That breaks the lie.
Oh, and a cat. Oh, is that why you had the house sitter? Of course it is. It wasn't
he said that's why it
protect
is.
the snort fort and make up this lie that detractors were gonna come after him, dude. No, it was actually just to sit there and watch Jasper and play with Jasper.
Let's see. Fairly new Kenmore refrigerators, ones that are in the French door style, which is what seems to be the popular thing these days, run anywhere from $540 to their ones that sell for almost $2,500. So, I mean, not to go full A-log if he did happen to get something like that, but it would be pretty remarkable if he did wind up doing a house tour and people said, well, hey, where did you get this? Where did you get that? Which, to Phil's credit, he did claim that detractors would do. How did you afford this? How did you afford that? You know, is that a new coffee maker that I see? But we're not looking for the coffee maker. We're looking for the big ticket items to try and figure out where things like the Tutankhamun money went, where the Emerald 7 money went, where the $300 that he made the night previous, or it may have been 2 nights previous, when he did the Street Fighter II Turbo Mini Retrospective. He made $300 that night.
Yeah, he made a little bit of cash.
$2,200 for a cat reveal.
Oh, and then his Xbox, power cable broke somehow.
Right, it broke somehow, and he wasn't able to afford the $30 because he had already spent the $2,200 plus on bills.
And then he says, I didn't make enough. I made $36 on my day stream, so I don't know if it's enough to order one from Amazon.
Now, was it a power cable or was it the power supply?
It was the power supply, so the brick.
Okay, so
$30.
Yeah, let's see.
On
Xbox
Amazon.
One.
Yeah.
Power supply. $24.99.
Yep. 2 broke.
In fact, with Amazon Prime, which we know for a fact he has, you can get it for. You can actually get a third-party one, which they work just fine. You can get a brand new one from YCC Team, Xbox One power supply brick, for $22.95, and it is Prime-free 1-day shipping.
Jeez.
And
the official one is $25.90, so it's $3 more.
And again, I've stated this several times on my show. No one cares that let me finish this statement first because it might sound weird initially. No one cares that DSP is buying all of these big ticket items. It's the fact that he's buying all of these big ticket items and crying broke. If DSP was like, things are good. Stream is good. I'm getting a lot of money. I can actually afford to improve my quality of life, and I'm paying off my debts. And he was buying new couches, pets, new refrigerators. Everyone would be like, alright. Because that means he's not lying to us. But DSP can't beg like that, or at least not beg to the extent of what he's doing. So he's always poor. And he'll always be poor. Because that's how he gets the most money.
You know, it's actually not the fact that he cries poor that bothers me as much. At least not right now. What bothers me right now, and I hope and pray, actually, and I actually will, for those of you that don't know, I am Christian, so I do mean what I say to this. I pray that Planet Jeff watches this, and this is a little quick shout out to you, buddy. I've experienced loss in a very similar way. I lost my father way too young. He passed away 2 years ago. No one expected it to happen. And I lost my sister back in 2001. And I understand what grief is like, and I understand what loss is like, and it puts you in a mindset where you're not thinking straight, and all you want to do is find some semblance of happiness in anything. You are donating money to a scammer, and that's what gets to me. It's not the fact that DSP cries poor, it's you, Planet Jeff. If you happen to be listening to this, if you ever happen to watch this, spend the money on therapy, spend the money reaching that level of grief where you reach the 5th level of acceptance. And if you want to honor your wife's memory, and nothing but my condolences and my heart breaks for you, please invest the money or donate to a charity that would make your wife proud, something that enriches and keeps her memory. Don't give it to someone who cries poor but has been proven to make $120,000 to $130,000 a year, every year. I can't think of anyone that makes that amount of money that is so fiscally irresponsible that they can't even pay their own taxes. I understand that he had back taxes, and maybe that was legitimately an error that was beyond his control. And if you want to feel sorry for DSP because of the back taxes associated with the state because he wasn't paying them for a few years, I'm not going to begrudge you that feeling. But then why did he not save money for the federal taxes that he knew he was going to have to pay? He had been paying them for 10 years, so what changed between him doing this job in Connecticut and paying the federal taxes and going to Washington and not having the money set aside to pay for federal taxes? What changed was he became a full-time streamer, and in doing so, became a full-time grifter. Because he realized that as long as he was doing it live, he would garner sympathy from people just like you that glean happiness from wanting to help somebody out. So I understand where you're coming from, Jeff. But please realize that you are throwing money into a pit. And that pit, I'll be maybe not the first one to say it, but I definitely will say it, of evil. DSP is evil. And I'm not saying that from a religious standpoint. I'm not saying that he's the Antichrist and ushering in a 1,000-year war. But if you look at his mannerisms, you look at his behavioral patterns, the little idiosyncrasies, you're talking about an evil man. DSP knows that your wife passed, and yet still will take money from you, knowing that he is not in the situation in which he claims. He takes money from Super Blind Man, a blind person who relies on the money for their disability check, and gives them the same level of disregard that he gives you. So please, if you or any other fan of DSP watches this, please take that into consideration. Sorry for the rant, but
I've got nothing.
I mean, it's warranted to feel sorry at least a little bit to, of Planet Jeff for those reasons that you just addressed. But there is the theory out there, and I stand by it, that Planet Jeff was in contact behind the scenes with DSP on Sunday, or in prior. Probably saying, hey, I'm going to go ahead and either match your tip goal or go ahead and just, I'm donating $1,000 to you. So DSP could put up any amount he wanted to for that tips goal. He never said any amount up until the point he went live. And he put it at $1,000 because he knew he was going to get $1,000. And that's why you could hear him throughout that day saying, oh, I have a feeling some big money is coming my way. Pretty much is how he said it. There's got to be somebody who's feeling very generous out there.
And what's remarkable about that is two things. One that goes back to what I said initially about Planet Jeff is people said, oh, he was in on the scam. I don't feel sorry for him anymore. I actually feel worse for him after that, because if you're thinking it from Planet Jeff's standpoint, the reason he would be so amenable to waiting until the end is because he has it ingrained so deep in his head that this is a man that needs your help. So he thinks, oh yeah, me waiting until the end to dump this money really is the best way to incentivize other people to donate if they don't know that I'm going to come along. And this will help DSP, who needs my help, as much as possible. So I actually feel worse for Planet Jeff in that. And the other aspect of it is the fact that DSP doesn't care who he uses at all.
Oh, no.
Because when Planet Jeff leaves, which will eventually happen, God willing, there will be someone else to take that place. And who knows if that person will be in a similar situation or a similar mental state. I know a lot of people like to meme on Planet Jeff and be like, oh yeah, obvious wheelchair symbol. But this is a man who, to my understanding, has an engineering degree, was very successful all on his own, was quite smart, and probably still very much is. I don't think you lose your intellect just because you lose a spouse, but is just emotionally not in the right frame of mind. I understand that entirely. Firsthand, I understand that. And not just I'm talking about loss of family members or anything like that, but for those of you that don't know, and I'll keep this very brief because I don't want to derail this podcast, I was in the hospital from April until June. And if I didn't have PTSD before, I do now, because there was a point where I was holding my small intestines in my own hands and went, that's not normal. Oh yeah, it was a whole lovely thing. I had an emergency surgery to have my colon removed, and 5 days later the wound reopened, and my small intestines spilled out. And luckily the surgeon was there. I was holding them in my hands. I said, hey doc, I'm in shock, and can we do something about this? And we did. Luckily I lived. I had about a 2% chance of surviving that.
Yeah,
I understand going through emotional extremes.
Hello, doctor. I am in severe trouble.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he was... And this surgeon, shout out to Dr. Akbari, Doylestown Hospital. You know who you are if you happen to be someone who watches this shit for fun. You saved my life. You know who I am. Thank you a million times over. You actually saved my life 3 separate times in the span of a month. I went in there initially with sepsis and slipped into septic shock. He saved my life then. I had a colonoscopy that perforated my colon and released everything into my, insides that shouldn't be on that part of the insides, and he saved my life then. And then when I dehisced and eviscerated and was holding my own internal organs, he saved my life a 3rd time. So shout outs to him. Big ups.
Yeah,
big ups to the reason I'm here.
Job.
Way to win the jackpot with a 2-pair. Holy fuck.
Yeah, and what's remarkable is he's actually younger than I am. So when I first realized that he was going to be my surgeon, I was like, I don't know about this. Like, this guy's like 30 years old, and he's going to be my surgeon. And then I realized, oh wait, he's 30 years old and is the head of the colorectal surgical unit at this hospital. So this dude's a badass. This is like the definition of Neil deGrasse Tyson. We got a badass over here. And
this guy walked out of college almost and became the head surgeon here.
Yeah, became the head of the colorectal surgical unit at Doylestown Hospital. And what's funny, don't let the name fool you, by the way, because people hear Dr. Akbari and they're like, oh, he probably went to college in the Middle East, came over to the United States, got a good job. which does happen rather often. His father, I do believe, was, or still is, Lebanese or Jordanian, but his mother is Scottish. And he is whiter than I am. I mean, he is blonde-haired, blue-eyed, looks like he should be speaking with the Scottish accent. So I was like, Dr. Akbari, this is you? And he's like, yeah, it's me. And I'm like, but yeah, I have that confused. But how? How are you Dr. Akbari? That's not a Scottish name. That's when he explained it to me.
That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, it was just one of those things, like, I know what emotional trauma feels like because I've experienced it in the past 3 months. Don't let it get to you guys. The guys that are giving him money, don't let evil, and that's what it is evil, prevail, because it takes a wicked man. And I'm not trying to preach or stand on a pulpit, but it takes a wicked man to take advantage of people that are in such a fragile emotional state or mental state that all they want to do is help someone, and to continue the con, to keep the grift going. In spite of that, takes someone that has neither remorse nor conscience. So stop it.
Hey, Delkin, I got a question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
Have you taken any classes on oratory?
No, I was just
Because
actually...
you are very good at speaking.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate that very much. And the reason for that is because, if you want to believe in superstition, my mother, while she was pregnant with me, kissed the Blarney Stone. And the Blarney Stone is often reported as giving the gift of gab, or the gift of eloquence. So she, while she was pregnant with my sister, and then later when she was pregnant with me, kissed the Blarney Stone both times. And my sister, while she was alive, her skill in oration was actually singing. She actually was an opera singer, and a damn good one at that.
No shit.
Yeah, even at the age of 18, I believe it was, when she did the tryout for a band. Most people know the Boston Pops. The Boston Pops is very popular, where they do a full orchestral set, and they usually have an operatic background for the singing unit. However, she did what was called Peter Nero and the Philly Pops, and she was one of 4 people that got a callback. Now, there were people from Metropolitan Opera and Juilliard that had tried out. People that had graduated Westminster College, which is the premier choral college in the United States.
Yeah.
And out of high school, she was one of 4 people to get a callback. Now, unfortunately, she passed away before she could, have that callback. But, yeah, her gift was singing, and mine became writing and speech giving.
Well, shit, I'm not much for superstition, but I can't knock it if it works.
Right.
But, yeah, like, honestly, the second point I was gonna make was, like, I'm not, like, to tie into the point that I made about your oration, I'm not one to fault your adjectives, because honestly, like, I think I might have said that DSP was evil at some point, but it's not, like, something I particularly harp on, but you're honestly spot on. Like, literally, DSP comes off as so unapologetically evil and self-righteous, it's insane. Like, I've seen... I don't think it's just me and Zypher, but I've seen people compare DSP to, have you played Final Fantasy XIV?
My apologies, I was taking a vape hit, and no, I have not. Wait,
Okay.
wait, yes, I have, but it was during, like, the 3-month trial, so I didn't get very far. I did enjoy it, but I didn't get very far into the story.
Oh, okay. In the minor Shadowbringers spoilers for anyone who gives a flaming fuck. The main antagonist for Shadowbringers is this grotesquely fat dude named Vothri, who literally thinks himself to be so self-righteous. He's so self-righteous, vain, and obnoxious that he literally thinks himself to be worthy of basically being God and commanding both humans and the big monster angels that are trying to kill everybody in Shadowbringers. He's budget Kefka, but literally so much of what he does is just like, yeah, no, this is DSP.
See, I wouldn't even say that was budget Kefka, though, because if you play Final Fantasy VI, I mean, Kefka was, like, basically the OG Joker.
Oh, Kefka was... Like, that's why I'm saying budget Kefka, because Vol 3... I like Vol 3 as an antag. He's not the main antag, but he's, like, the big antag for a while. I like Vol 3, but he is not Kefka.
I was going to say, it's not so much that he's a budget Kefka. If I was going to compare him to another Final Fantasy antagonist, I would say he sounds very much like Seymour from Final Fantasy X.
I've not played 10, so I can't...
10 is phenomenal. 10 is absolutely phenomenal. And one of the most deep, without being convoluted, stories of any of the Final Fantasies, and it gets very heavy into religion and politics, and why there should definitely be a separation of church and state. And, he's someone who comes off as quiet and reserved and affable until later in the game when you realize that he feels fit not only to control all of mankind, but also the Aeons, which are the summons in Final Fantasy X. And he's very much that it's only me that is worthy, and I'm the one that should control sin itself. And sin itself was basically the harbinger of death for people that did not follow the edicts of the religion. And to me, if you said his name was Valthus or
Valthry.
If Valthry is anything like that, then that's absolutely DSP, because look at the way that he runs his cult.
Sounds a bit more like, it sounds very similar to Valthry. However, Valthry is a bit more loudly full of himself from the ground one.
Okay, so that probably would be more like, Valthry would probably be more like DSP then, because DSP is very bombastic and boisterous when it comes to, you know, this is the United States of Phil, you don't have freedom of speech, this is my land. And
by the way, to sink the 8-ball, this is Valthry.
Let's see, 12 is crap. The best Final Fantasy games are 3, 6, 8, and... Wait, and 6. 12?
13 is crap.
Yeah, okay, that's okay. Yeah, 13 is crap. I was like, 12 is crap, but the best Final Fantasy games include 12?
I'm like, don't knock 12.
No, oh, God, yeah, that... Okay, so I didn't look at the picture properly to begin with. Because all I saw was the gut, so I thought it was a really fat lion just laying down.
No.
And I was like, no, that's not DSP, because a lion could never be DSP. But looking at this picture here, I would definitely recommend people Google what Valthry looks like.
Here, I'll throw it in the chat.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, that is definitely... I mean, all you have to do is add the patchy goatee and maybe a few more strands of hair and make them black. Still give him the very much receding hairline. But, yeah, that definitely seems like what DSP would be like if he were a Final Fantasy character.
Right.
Hey.
And there's the man of the hour. How's it going, GTG?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good.
I'm doing great. I saw about the 47-minute mark of your podcast, the 4-hour long one. I was watching it when I actually got the call from Agent Proper and said, oh yeah, shout out to Declan Reed. And I was like, wait, what? I was kind of surprised and pleasantly so. And it was really interesting because like 2 seconds later, it says that I'm getting a call from Agent Proper in GTG, and I'm like, man, his ears must have been burning. Dog in a sharp suit got the burning ears.
Shout out to Declan Reed.
Yeah, that was exactly what it was.
But yeah, we were just shooting the shit and comparing DSP to fat-ass Final Fantasy characters.
So what's on the menu tonight, gentlemen?
Well,
right now we've been talking about Jasper.
And the scam.
Yeah, Jasper, the scam, and to a lesser extent, which I'm sure we're going to get into in greater detail, this banning of the Chancla.
Oh, he's the guy who tried to unban one of his friends last night?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was his friend, but yeah.
Mr.
He's
Huth
also the one
Stuff.
that ran. He's also the one that ran those gay ops on that one fake Discord server. And got Dacky Smurf, Master Saru, and King of Golf banned. It was King of Golf, right?
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
Dacky Smurf was the original target, and he was the only one that evaded.
Right.
He rolled a 20, and somehow completely evaded the whole ban process, even though he was the original target.
No, he
Make
got
deck
banned.
save.
He got banned. He got put in
Oh, did
DSP
he?
jail, yeah. And then he's
Probably
out
got
now.
banned.
Oh, okay. Well, that's, I mean, good for him. I didn't realize that he got put in DSP prison. Although, what I was going to mention way before, and for some reason it just reminded me now, was not the video where he shouts me out when I was in the hospital, but there's a video from a couple of nights ago where I was actually on my streaming channel account because I forgot to switch accounts, which was my own fault, and it was when he was playing Madden 20. And he said something about his defense sucks. Like, oh man, I can't get anything done. My defense sucks. But he was playing offense at the time. So the only thing I said was, I believe you mean your offensive line, not your defense. Wasn't trying to be an asshole. And he says, oh, okay, Declan does, which is my streaming account. You don't have to be a dick about it. Like, I don't know anything about football. Like, he admitted that he knew nothing about football. By
Then
saying,
why are you playing a football game?
because someone donated it to him and he thought it would get him chill bucks.
You know what get him chill box? Fucking Bloodstained or Fire Emblem.
No,
Oh,
Fire
absolutely.
Emblem has waifus.
Yeah, that's right. Fire Emblem does have waifus, so he cannot play Fire Emblem because he is a fully dedicated husband. And not the piece of shit that GTG called him out for being a piece of shit husband, which is one of the reasons why he probably got the cat, because human cat might be carrying a pig roach horse.
It definitely shows how insecure he is.
Absolutely.
Over a video game is rather pathetic, to say the very least.
Oh yeah, and I joked around with him afterwards, and I said, "Oh, what should I change my name to Declan does because I'm being a dick?" And he's like, "Yeah, because you're being a dick. Yeah, you should change your name." But there was no like witty banter back and forth. Like he wasn't being lighthearted about it. He was still being very acerbic. And I'm sitting here like, really? I made a self-deprecating joke based on you calling me a dick, which was unwarranted to begin with. And then instead of playing along and just being like, yeah, haha, that would be funny because it's a cheesy pun, he's like, yeah, you should do that because you are being a dick. I don't know anything about football. And, you know, for someone, and this is something GTG, you point out all the time, that for someone who claims for this to be their real big boy full-time job, that they pour their blood, sweat, and tears into, which is not me saying that. That is a phrase that he has used on more than one occasion. You guys can look it up for yourself if you think that bears scrutiny. He has said it on more than one occasion that he pours his blood, sweat, and tears into this real full-time big boy job of his. That he couldn't have taken 20 minutes before playing Madden and just learned the most cursory of terms. Like, this is the most rudimentary of, okay, this is the offensive line, this is the defense, this is what zone defense is, this is what man coverage is. Okay, you can go on Google and learn that shit in 20 minutes. And he didn't even bother to do that when... And what makes that worse is the fact that someone donated the game to him. So that person, I want to say it was Straight Cash Homie, was the person that donated Madden 20 to him.
Yeah.
That person is expecting at least a modicum of intelligent commentary, which I don't know why they're expecting that because they're watching DSP. But
Zing.
they're expecting at least a little bit of commentary associated with football because they donated a football game. And he couldn't be fucked to just go there on Google or even have it on a second monitor and go, okay, these are what the positions are. These are what the terms are that I'm supposed to use. And he acted like such a petulant child. I'm pretty sure that GTG either already commented on this. I know, Agent, that you did. That when he was playing Madden 20 and he switched it to pro difficulty, he did a total of 2 or 3 plays, and then he connects with the receiver, and the receiver fumbles the ball. And he went on a 5-minute rant, which included, and I wish I was making this up, but unfortunately, if I'm lying, I'm dying, and I've already been in the hospital long enough, included the phrase, "I worked my ass off to get that pass, and then the game's going to screw me by the receiver fumbling."
You're not wrong.
But,
that was
yeah.
the start of the rant.
Yeah, I worked my ass off. How did you work your ass off by pressing left or right on the left thumbstick and then pressing a button?
Okay, so my only response to that is, as it pertains to actually looking up how football works and positions and things like that, that wouldn't be real, okay? When you watch DSP, when you watch DarkSydePhil, you're seeing the raw, uncut, authentic individual. So doing all the, learning how plays work and how to call them and do all that, nah, that's for suckers. You know what I'm saying? That's the same people who work 9 to 5s. We don't do that. We go ahead and we just go ahead and run everything off the cuff because Phil is just God gifted. You didn't know? Those are magic hooves that he has. Every time he presses a button, shit happens. Shit that's supposed to happen doesn't happen, but it's not his fault. It's everybody else's fault.
Nothing I could do.
Mm-hmm. Nothing I could do.
So should we actually make an addendum and call it raw, unedited, uneducated?
Yes.
Because
he refuses to educate himself.
Yeah, I don't think that those two things are fucking mutually exclusive, where it's raw, unedited, and I'm not going to bother to do research.
Well,
now,
see, though,
I mean, we know that, but again, we're the suckers.
Well, to gotta go off of what GTG was saying, the big thing about that is, like, raw... In fairness to Phil, as I'm about to insult him,
that is being fair.
We are getting raw, unadulterated Phil. Phil is not changing anything about his life for us on the camera. He is an absolutely uneducated shit who refuses to learn anything about the job he's doing. And we've seen that with literally everything else he's done ever. So why would he learn basic football that I could learn by half paying attention in marching band in order to play a fucking video game?
You know, I actually have a compelling argument for that, and here it is. Because we're supposed to be getting authentic Phil. You know, the raw, unedited, authentic Phil. But authentic Phil, according to Phil's own words, is someone who was not only valedictorian, but also achieved a commendation for achieving competitive excellence. So you would figure that someone who was valedictorian and got an ACE certification would actually have a thirst for knowledge. But as we all know, the only thing he's thirsty for is that water that he then crunches the bottle in front of the fucking microphone. So why is he not learning about this stuff prior to, you know, whether it be about his business or about the game that he's about to play or the lore behind the game he's about to play, when everything in his life, by his own admission, has been predicated on the notion of, I have a thirst for knowledge. I mean, the only thing he has a thirst for is fucking Kickstart. Or Mio. I'm sorry, he's on the new Mio kick. I don't want to cost him his Mio sponsorship by letting them know that he's cheating on them with Mountain Dew Kickstarts.
It's fucking Mio sponsorship. Yeah, the big, like, that's honestly such... You don't need to research every single game in the fucking planet to understand it. Like, let's go hypothetical and say he played Bloodstained. All he would need to do is, like, it's a Metroidvania. I understand how to play this game. Because I know what the kind of game this is. Congratulations, you're ready to play. Go.
Yeah.
All we expect of all we expect of Phil is the bare minimum. We're over here like that one fucking picture at the parade. Our expectations for you were low, but holy fuck.
The
Yeah,
bare
and that's
minimum. The bare minimum's already too much, though.
Exactly, and like that's the big thing for Phil. The bare minimum is literally too much, because Phil doesn't want to. Phil doesn't want to put in any amount of effort. Phil thinks he doesn't have to. He's the guy. He was the most prolific guy on YouTube. He got big on YouTube by being a racist, sexist piece of shit in the fucking early to like late 2000s to early 2010s, but he says he has no audience for those games. Then you're not a fucking variety streamer. And bullshit, you don't have an audience for those streams. You have an audience for fucking Madden.
Do you know why he doesn't have an audience for Metroidvania games?
Shoot, why?
Because they require concentration.
Mm-hmm.
And we already know that this is a man that said that Donkey Kong Country required concentration because it was a hard platformer, so he shouldn't be expected to interact with his viewers when he's playing Donkey Kong Country, and was rude to the person that said he should be interacting with chat. Surprise, surprise. Because he's in the middle of a hard platformer. So imagine him playing a Metroidvania game, which takes timing and precision and thinking a few moves ahead, and then think we already have enough dead air as it is. But it would put Tonkasaw to shame.
Oh, yeah.
If he were to play a Metroidvania game, because it would be permanent gamer face, slack-jawed, close to the camera because he refuses to wear his glasses. And
because glasses are for nerds.
Yeah, and even in that shitty 480p resolution or whatever his camera's set to, he knows that he would be lean-in manual gaming so hard that we would actually be able to see that there are, in fact, patches in that shitty goatee that he refuses to get rid of.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Iron Torch, to throw some out in the chat, Aria Asano was literally one of my favorite streams that I've done in a long time. Like, that was a good game. Symphony of the Night, although, it's either Aria or Symphony for me. Although DSP playing Symphony, can you imagine DSP trying to figure out how to beat the game and get to the inverted castle in Symphony of the Night?
Nope.
Please don't do that to me.
Please don't do that.
That would be fucking good. DSP would fuck, like... Okay, I was gonna initially say, like, the moon thing for, Bloodstained. Because, like, the big thing at the end is, like, the demon, Gremory hides in the moon. So you need to take,
I'm not listening.
David Hayter's magical sword that's literally called Moon Cutter in Japanese. And then once the moon turns red, you attack the moon. That, you could probably tell DSP. Like, literally just use the sword and cut the moon. You fucking idiot. But Symphony of the Night, you've got to get the spiked armor, go talk to Maria, then you got to find the gold ring, and the silver ring and get the glasses, and then you got to go fight, Richter, and then kill the magical floating orb of Shaft. DSP ain't doing that shit.
No, it's too hard. Too much work.
DSP killed Richter and called it a night.
Well,
I like this. DSP's gamer face is not too different from a sad clown painting. A little makeup here and there, and voila, DSP the sad gamer clown.
You're not wrong.
It makes me think of the guy that was on America's Got Talent, which was Puddles the clown.
no,
The sad clown that had the wonderful voice.
I can't do clowns, man.
Oh, I don't know if you have coulrophobia, but I do.
I do.
To a severe degree.
I'm
I
terrified.
don't know if I've ever shared this story really with anyone in your viewing audience. I'll make it quick. I'll make it as quick as I can, rather. After I was born, when I was like 4 or 5, my mom had to have a hysterectomy. And yes, this does matter for the clown thing. You might be like, hysterectomy and clowns? The fuck is this? Like, did they tie her tubes into a balloon animal? No. Nothing like that. So, my mom had to have a hysterectomy. She wasn't able to have any more kids. Like, it was, if she had another kid, she was going to die. So my dad looked at me and was like, Declan, you are my one chance at being the fearless Irish Catholic warrior son I've always imagined having. And as most of you can tell by now, that worked out great. No, it didn't. So the way that he decided to make me immune to fear was at the age of 6, he decided to show me the most horrifying films he could think of. And it started with the film The Shining. And I looked like, at the time, the derpy little boy with the blonde bowl cut from The Shining. So when they're
Danny?
like, come play with us, I think they're talking about me. And I'm like, no, fuck that. That ain't happening. So that really kind of scarred me. And then the
Seems
next
like a
week,
bad idea that could very easily backfire.
oh, it did backfire. I was terrified to watch horror movies until right before I joined the military, and then realized that I couldn't possibly join the military and potentially see real horrors if I was too much of a bitch to watch regular horror movies. That's a story for another day. So the second film was The Exorcist. And, of course, that's horrifying because I was raised Catholic, and I asked my dad, hey, does that happen to, like, any kids? And he's like, oh, no, it only happens to bad kids. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, oh, I'm fucked. Like, Satan obviously made a clerical error and went after her first because he was like, you know, Cindy, Sally, Declan, Linda Blair. Like, and just completely skipped past me, and he's going to realize the mistake he made, and he's going to be double pissed. So I needed to have the house blessed not once, but twice, because I was afraid that the first one didn't take. Like, that one didn't hold, so I need the house blessed a second time.
You're over here trying to save your game.
Oh yeah, at this point, my mom steps in, and she's like, we need to cut this shit out. We need to give him a... Like, I thought this was a stupid idea to begin with, but you're taking it to a whole nother level. And he's like, all right, fine, I'll give him a break. No more scary movies for a while. That lasted 2 weeks, until Stephen King's It miniseries came out on VHS.
Good grief.
And then at the age of 6, I watched Stephen King's It miniseries with one of my favorite actors, Tim Curry, who I love, and who also, by the way, fun fact, has severe coulrophobia, to the point where someone accidentally showed himself in makeup and that person got fired and he needed to take a break from filming for 6 weeks to go to therapy.
Is that
Before
true?
you can go back and before you can go back and film
No
on set.
shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
It actually made him more afraid of clowns. The reason he took the role was because he thought it would be cathartic, and since he would have the power, you know, he is the clown, that it would make things better, and he said it actually made it worse for him. But so I watched Stephen King's It, and I got a really deep-seated fear of clowns, which persists to this day. For full disclosure, I'm 34 years old, and clowns still fucking terrify me. But I was also in the military. So I have a flight or fight response, and instead of, I mean, everyone has one, but mine defaults now to fight. So clowns actually make me unbearably violent, to the point where I almost hospitalized my friend's niece's birthday clown at her niece's 5th birthday party, because he came up to me. This was after I was out of the military. I was a good boy while I was in the military. I want to make that perfectly clear. He came up to me, and I'm smoking a joint at the tree. And he's like, why aren't you joining in on the fun? And I'm like, dude, you are so lucky I'm stoned right now. I know, rationally, that you were a person behind that makeup, but I'm not willing to take that chance, because you could grow fangs and try to eat me, so you got about 10 seconds to get out of here before I put you through this tree, and anything else that I feel like, before I'm finally put in cuffs. And he completely dropped the act immediately, and he was like, dude, how old were you when you saw it? And I was like, I was 6. And he's like, don't worry, man, I get it. And yeah, I was stationed in Hawaii, by the way. I'm not giving him a stoner accent for nothing. So
I love,
yeah,
my favorite part of that story is, like, literally, you give him that reaction, and he goes, how old were you when you saw it?
Yep.
Like, he calls it immediately.
And we blazed up like a son of a bitch the second he was done doing his act. He came up to me and he was wiping the makeup off. He's like, see, I'm just a normal dude. You better pass that shit. I hate doing these birthday parties. Like, it was... But that's my reaction every time. So Agent, I understand when you say that you don't do, like, I am very much in the same boat with you. I have caused property damage in the name of clowns. That one was bad. It was at a Spirit of Halloween. I don't know if you guys have that in your area, but it's like a Halloween wholesale store, and they also sell animatronics. Yeah. And someone I was, like, kind of seeing at the time, but not really. Her and I were at the Spirit of Halloween, and she saw the thing before I did, and she's like, Declan, let's get out of here. Like, don't look. And I'm like, is it a clown? She goes, yeah, it's a clown. Don't look. And I'm like, all right, thank you. I appreciate it. Because this is a legit thing. This isn't like me exaggerating, going, oh, clowns make me violent. Like, legitimately, I see a clown, I go kind of Hulk mode. And I took the turn too wide, and it was one of those animatronics that responds to a pressure plate. So I stepped on the pressure plate, and all I hear is, and this clown sitting up with a sledgehammer, just going, like, the evilest cackle clown laugh you can imagine. So on instinct, I turn and look at it and go, like, Jesus, it's a clown, not thinking, oh, it's an animatronic. And I punch this thing as hard as I can, fucked my left hand up. I'm a southpaw. And, like, punched this thing in the face as it's standing up, and I hear, and I was like, oh, it's not getting up anymore. That's good. And then her and I both looked at the price, roughly $800.
Ooh.
And we said,
oopsies.
Scramble! Like, just get out of here.
Threw a 40 on the ground and yelled, scatter!
Yes, scatter.
Now
Yes,
speaking of clowns and that hate their job, though, I think we should get to this video. Because this video is from MrHuth Stuff. And I have the link in the description already. He posted it, I believe, last night after everything went down. But as we said before, DeChonkla, the bottom line, he got demodded and banned last night, and you'll see why. He tried to unban Liquid Hindo, his buddy, and DSP caught him. So let's start this up and enjoy some of it, and we'll stop it as needed.
Fuck yeah.
Bottom line,
If it wants to do it. Oh no, we're having issues. Fantastic. Let me see here. I don't know why we're having issues with it. That's okay.
just remove the ban on Liquid Hindo.
It doesn't like full screen, I guess.
I didn't
but that's
approve
okay.
that.
I'll just zoom it in.
Let's see here.
Calm before the storm.
Yeah, he's reading chat big time there.
You realize I just saw that, right? Like, you just removed... Why did you remove a ban on someone who I banned? Why did you do that? You didn't ask me either. So now are you going to explain your actions on stream? You literally just got caught out red-handed.
He's
saw
panicking a bit there.
The guy who's permanently
He
banned.
just
Didn't
busted
ask
his
me to do
mind
it. You just
doing
did it
this.
in front of everybody. No, now you're trying to reban him. That's not how it works. Now you have to explain to everyone what you just did and why you thought you could sneak that in. Everyone, you just got caught red-handed with your hand in the cookie jar, dude. Like 1,000,000% caught out on banning someone that's permanently banned. So you better explain your actions right now.
Like your permanent bans mean anything.
At all.
You got caught.
Yeah, his users keep coming back over and over again in sock accounts and various forums. I mean, K Galleon was in his forum saying, "Oh, I watched a bit of the stream," and that guy's permanently banned from Twitch.
I wasn't even going that far.
Out,
I was
dude.
just sitting there thinking, like,
1,000,000% caught.
what's the word I'm looking for? Like, literally, you could ask any mod, okay, most mods, if they'll unban you, and they'll unban you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what the fuck does it, like, yeah, you said he's permanently banned. That clearly doesn't mean jack for shit.
Well, here's what makes me curious: is why is DSP so unbelievably against the notion of having a kid? Which again, I still think he's like hiding the whole catus preggers thing, but why is he so against the notion of having a kid when he has the disappointed parent routine down pat? I mean, because this is a dude, whenever someone does something that he doesn't like, he's like, can you explain yourself? You did an oops. No, I saw your hand in the cookie jar. Don't you tell me that was your brother. We saw it was you. I mean, he's got that down. I mean, that part of parenting is the only thing that he will fucking excel at if he ever creates a pig roach horse spawn. I mean, that is the only thing. Maybe fitting the horseshoes. Maybe he has a hidden talent that I don't know. But outside of that, the only thing he'll be really good at is that disappointed parent. Like, you should know better than this. What are you doing? How many times have we talked about this? You don't unban people I don't want you to unban. This is the United States of Phil. Come on now.
I feel like it's the jealousy aspect of it. I think having a spawn, no matter what he or she looks like, that excels in ways that he couldn't, I don't think he can live with that.
You mean like everything in life except for grifting?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't see him. I couldn't see his child excelling to the point where his parents flew out, because obviously they're not dying. That they flew out and they were showering with this kid with praise and whatever else. And certainly strangers or people that they don't know doing it. I couldn't see Phil doing that at all. That's why he needs streaming. It's the only way to get the acknowledgement that he never could. The FGC wasn't going to give it to him because they had no reason to. To be honest with you, outside of his first couple years on YouTube, it didn't do much for that either. We've got a grown man who thrives on getting attention, good or bad, despite the fact that, you know, he's a victim. We're all heinous, you know, mentally ill people who want to tear his life down and so on and so forth. He needs it. He needs it more than probably anybody I've ever seen, to be honest, which makes him an easy target.
Oh, I would absolutely agree with that. And I think you bring up a really cogent point there with the whole showering with gifts and attention. Could you imagine once, you know, little Roach Burnell reaches 6 or 7 years old and there's a toy that they really want and Mama Burnell is on the fucking spot with getting that toy? How seething with rage Phil would be. Like, oh, you can get them the toy that they asked for, but you couldn't get me the Wolverine doll.
PTSD all over again.
Well, no,
I mean,
but
yeah,
they learned.
Trigger.
They learned, remember?
They learned to get him the things with the Nintendo 64. Remember?
That's true.
They did learn.
God, that entire fucking mini rant just came off such. It was so pathetic.
But what happens when, you know, little Roach Burnell, Roachy Jr., decides that he's not going to behave and he does something wrong? Now, of course, Roachy Jr. didn't do anything wrong. He did everything correct. But let's like he
Learn
did
from the
something
best.
wrong. Yeah, and he's in DSP jail. He's banned from the chat. I mean, everything. And then Mama Burnell still gives him the toy that he wants. Is
Honestly,
that the point where, as a parent, DSP goes, "Why don't you listen to me?"
honestly,
I didn't want him to have
like,
the toy.
like my there are plenty of time. Let me try that entire sentence again. Jesus Christ. But there are plenty of, like, everyone always jokes about the grandmother who always gives the kid everything they want. Like, if mom and dad say no, ask grandma. Like that joke.
Oh yeah.
Like, stereotypes exist for a reason. That's one that definitely exists for. My grandma's like that. Hell, if my parents would have let her, she probably would have tried to fucking raise us. My aunt certainly let that happen, but that is a story for another day.
I do like this. Rob Sledden says, kids go through a mine phase, not a Minecraft phase, Phil. Don't get your fucking cockles all excited.
Okay.
And that's when DSP will learn that he loses arguments with 2-year-olds.
I think the perfect example is the whole VR situation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. I mean, because it's not like he can ban his kid on Twitter. It's not like blocked. I mean, he can't do that. When,
I mean,
when
he
the
could
kids,
pro Jared, he could do that.
oh, he could definitely pull a pro Jared, but that would also mean that he's enough of a Chad to cheat on his wife. And
We all know it.
I still firmly believe though that he was talking to Kat before Panda left.
oh, I actually believe that as well.
Yeah.
Makes a valid point, but I do still think Kat would be the one to cheat before Phil would be.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well,
Also,
yeah,
what's going
because
on, DL?
Yeah, you have in that situation someone who was complacent in the cheating being Phil, and then someone who was actively doing the cheating being Kat.
Yeah, you
And
gotta
just
be.
from a psychological standpoint, the one that actively did the cheating is the one with the greater propensity to cheat again,
Mhm.
rather than the person that was just complacent and was like, I don't mind being. I mean, if you think about it, Kat is the ultimate Chad in that scenario. She has a dude that gave her everything she wanted. She was able to ride around in a bitchin' Subaru. And then she has a streamer as her side bitch. DSP was her side bitch.
Holy shit.
DSP is her sugar cube.
Yes, exactly. DSP is the sugar cube for the horse.
Mhm.
But, I mean, at the beginning, he was the side bitch until he became the main bitch. But it's still Kat that runs the show.
Oh yeah, Kat's absolutely the big dick in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she's ostensibly the only dick in the relationship if you're just, like, measuring by inches. I'm pretty sure there's a standard of measure by which you have to say, yes, that qualifies as a penis.
Zing.
I mean, in that case, she's potentially the only dick in the relationship. By the way, I mean, have you seen how hung horses are? There's a reason that's like a whole kink. So,
Why did you take it there? God, I feel like I'm talking with Zypher anyway.
well, I mean, the one, and I think GTG might have pointed this out. I'm not entirely sure.
I'm
But
giving
the
you shit,
one man,
Zypher. I love
the
you.
one man that died by having sex with a horse did live in Washington.
Why would you say that?
By the way, I'm not telling you lovely lads and lasses out there to Google Mr. Hands. I'm not saying to do that, but if you ever want to fall down a dark rabbit hole, don't watch the video, obviously, but Google what happened to Mr. Hands. Just type in Mr. Hands Washington. Actually, don't do that. Wink. And
just
you'll see that there was a man that died making sweet love to cat. I mean, to a horse.
To horse.
And yeah, so that was in Washington. Maybe that's just like a common thing in Washington. Maybe they hold competitions. Who can last the longest with the horse?
Also,
We don't know what goes on there.
Sunspot threw something out there that gave me a. This might seem weird. This might seem like a bit too far.
Say my name.
Oh no! Before
that is great.
Before that, do you think DSP is the kind of shit that? Do you think DSP is the kind of I can't think of the right word that starts with I, but do you think DSP is the kind of disgusting shithead who would beat his kids?
Yes. Well, no. He would. I think he's more of a. He would prefer to break them emotionally or psychologically. I don't think he could bring himself to do it physically.
Yeah, no physical violence for Phil. He can't do physical violence. I mean, look at all the times with Viscant or anybody in the FGC who approached him physically, and he just cowered up.
Yep.
Actually, I think you guys are giving for a great argument as to why he would be physically violent with his kids.
Because because the kid couldn't fight back. There's no way that he could lose that fight.
You were talking about a man who has a psychological history of anger control issues, for which he doesn't have a proper method of venting because he bitches out every time he has challenged someone to a fight. He cowered and almost wet himself when Jaha and the FGC went after him.
Well, there's a good reason for that, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jaha's an ex-Marine, Ura Devil Dog. But, and sorry, Jaha, you're a Marine. There's no such thing as an ex-Marine. I fucked up, that's my bad. But, you're talking about, he cowered in front of Jaha, he bitched out with Viscount, and keep in mind, Viscount, I love you, buddy. If you ever watch this, I love you. But the one video that I saw of you when you were extremely thin, I don't know if you were sick or anything, and this is before I actually knew that you worked with people that had drug addictions. I did once jokingly say that you looked like the meth version of John Connor from T2.
Oh,
That's
harsh.
And that was the video with you versus LZG, where you actually shut his ass down, so good on you for doing that. But, again, nothing but respect for you, man. I hope you realize that I'm just taking the piss. I'm not being serious about the look thing.
Yeah.
You did look kind of thin and sick.
He did study martial arts, though.
Yeah, but he was an amateur kickboxer.
Correct.
He wasn't just studying martial arts. He was an amateur kickboxer. He was actually doing fights.
Yeah.
So when DSP
he was gonna hurt Phil.
Oh yeah, when DSP found that out, he was like, what would be really funny is if we pretended to fight and then we just turned to the crowd and did DX chops and said, "Suck it." That would be really funny. This is the guy that had to wait until he was out of the same chat room and then make sure that his in-game mic was muted just to tell his fan base that he would slap the shit out of an 11-year-old if she talked to him that way in real life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's obvious that this man is, well, I use the word man really loosely here, but he's very averse to direct confrontation unless the person can't defend themselves. So all of a sudden you're giving Phil an outlet for this pent-up anger, and he's only going to get more anger because kids are hell to deal with, even the most well-behaved kids. First few years of their life, maybe even up to 6, 7, 8 years old, they can be little obstinate shits.
Yep.
So you're talking about a man with anger control issues that's compounded by the fact that he now has this new and completely unexplored method of getting under his skin. It's not the trolls and detractors that he's used to. It's his own spawn. And it just builds up and builds up and builds up, and then he realizes, well, they can't defend themselves. What's a little smack here or there going to do? Do I think he'd ever beat the shit out of his kids? No. But do I think he would be liberal with the corporal punishment? Yes, I do. And he would probably use some excuse like, well, that's how my parents raised me. I would get a smack on the butt or a smack on the hand or even a pop in the mouth if I did something wrong. And don't get me wrong, so did I. Legit. I got the belt. I got the belt more than once.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you one thing. I fucked up a bunch, but I never fucked up the same way twice. Because I knew what would happen if I did. So it's not that it's necessarily a bad thing, but I think that it takes, almost ironically, a even-tempered hand to know when it is and is not appropriate to raise a hand against your child in order to teach a lesson. And I think that good old Philly boy would be handing out some slaps. I think it would be lean-in manual slap a little liberally.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be for every little infraction. So I actually think that you guys are making a good argument for why he would be borderline physically abusive. Would he ever beat the shit out of his kids? No, I don't think he would.
Offline Cyber makes a good point. He does also have impulse control issues, so it's
absolutely.
Like, that's a good case for a DSP just loses control and does some shit like that. Also, Scottish Nerd, I wanted to respond to you earlier, but forgot. What's the worst thing Phil's ever done? That is a very big question, but for me personally, I would still have to say Eric Panda's medical history. Like, that one gets under my skin personally for some reason. Given, there's quite a few many things that absolutely could possibly be worse than that. And if you think otherwise, I totally understand why. That's just it for me personally.
The worst thing he's ever done? I'm gonna need a minute on that.
Yeah,
it's
a deep dive.
I've got mine on lock.
Shoot.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to go into the same rant that I did before, but those of you that have been watching from the beginning know what it is already, and that is knowingly taking advantage of someone financially who lost their life. That, to me, is the most depraved thing that he has done. And if you want to add it into the mix, people like Super Blind Man that have their disability checks and are just trying to do something good with it by helping someone out. I mean, Super Blind Man has the disadvantage of not being able to see Phil's body language. That's not me trying to like make fun of the fact, oh lol, you're blind. But you run into stairs, it's hilarious. That's not it. It's he literally can't see Phil's body language. So he has no real way of discerning the fact that Phil has many tells that he's being disingenuous. Whereas Planet Jeff, while he has access to those tells, is not in the right emotional frame of mind because he lost his wife and is just trying to help someone that he thinks is under financial duress. And I think that's the most depraved thing that Phil has done, is taken advantage of multiple people, will say, that do not have the ability for one reason or another, whether it be through disability or not being of sound mind and body at that point in time, and using the grift to take advantage of them financially. Knowing the situations that they're in, I think that's the worst thing that he's done. And to me, a close second is this one's personal, much like the Liana having her medical history exposed is for Robin. Again, not going into sordid details here, but having lost my sister in 2001, I know what it's like to lose a sibling. So when War Dog Leader was in his chat saying, hey, I know what depression's like, I've lost my brother, you can do it. You can do more than just like eating a cup of noodles and taking care of you can do a better job of taking care of yourself. And he mocked War Dog Leader for losing his brother and called him the king of suffering. That one really fucking gets to me. I've spoken to War Dog Leader since then. He's a really nice guy. It just happened too. He had just this wasn't months after the fact. This was a week after he had lost his brother, where Phil's mocking him, calling him the king of suffering. I think that one, not only because it hits close to home, but also because we now know in retrospect that Phil was lying. That Phil wasn't even depressed at the time and having trouble making food and shit like that, because he was already dating Kat, and the whole pretense for his depression was the fact that he was single and lonely. I didn't even think about that until right now. So that's even more fucked up, because he's there whining about being depressed and lonely and not being able to do even basic things for himself when he was already hooking up with Kat.
Yeah.
And still had the audacity to tell someone who had just lost his brother, oh, you're the king of suffering. Wow, that might actually make my number one now, because that's now doubly fucked up. What's yours, GTG?
To continue down this road, I think we need to look at this video some more and try to keep things in line, because
fair enough.
How Phil treats his fan base in his mod team is horrendous in its own right, and this happens daily. I mean, you're looking at a bunch of abused children who show up, and handicapped people who just throw money at him to try to keep him happy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just getting worse and more out of hand now. I mean, as we're going to see with this whole thing, is Phil gloats over the fact that he caught somebody doing a no-no.
Can I give a real quick, before we start this, a 2-second shout out?
Yeah.
Shout out to Seidel's mom. Thank you.
Best
we were
cookies.
Milk and cookies. We were just talking about, the challenged kids, and of course the first thing I think about is Seidel and then Seidel's mom. So shout out to Seidel's.
He's Tony Hawk in Phil's chat, right?
Yeah, there's 2 Tony Hawks right now, and he's the one without the bitch badge.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but he's been around for a while too.
Okay, yeah, but we keep sending him. But like every time I go over there, he's already gone off the camp, and I just don't have time to keep track of all that.
Oh, see, you're lucky. Last time I was there, he had to come back because he forgot the helmet.
Hey, that happens. But yeah, we'll continue with this whole disaster last night, and it was so good.
What out? Damn, dude.
I thought that was you fast forwarding it.
Still waiting on an answer. I asked a few mods and they said, okay, it's okay, my bad.
I'm so glad Mr.
What?
Huth included these.
I don't know about that.
Can you back up and show that
I
text
don't know
box again?
about that. I think you're full of shit. I think you...
Let's see.
I asked a few mods and they said, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so
my
he says,
bad.
you know,
What?
he asked mods if it was okay
I don't
to
know about
unban
that.
that guy. Liquid Hindo, his buddy.
I don't know about that. I think you're full of shit. I think you literally just got caught, dude.
Show the evidence.
Seriously, I think you got caught the fuck out. Every once in a while, someone who I permanently ban gets unbanned, and I wonder how. We just literally just saw it right there live. Oops.
Can I ask a quick question? Didn't Phil say at one time that there was like there was some type of process for banning and unbanning people? Like it was almost like a vote, if you will. And like Phil didn't necessarily have the last word. He just needed to be included into the conversation. Or am I wrong about that?
No, that's right for the most part from what we've seen from mod leaks in the past. But the thing that really is all over it is that Phil does have the last word for certain people. So if Phil if Phil bans you, you better not get unbanned. Especially if you're a big troll or you really screwed up. Like Third Eye the Third, no way he's getting unbanned without Phil's permission. Same with anybody else. Like the Hopper now. He's banned. He's not getting back unless if he forks over some behind the scenes donations.
Yeah, I was going to say that is step one, is tip $5 or more.
Yeah, and then grovel at his piggy hoof, just being like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Piggy Roach Master. I didn't know. I thought it was okay. Here's $5 more."
Hasn't Third Eye the Third recently actually donated somewhere upwards of $20 over the span of a few days, not all at once, to try to get unbanned?
I haven't seen him around in a while.
This would have been roughly 2 weeks ago, I want to say, maybe even 3 weeks ago. But it was over the span of, I want to say, 2 days where he donated, I want to say it was $25, where it was $5 initially to get Phil's attention, and then that same day he donated $10, and then the day after also donated $10 and was like, "Hey, I'm still here watching your streams. I just want to be unbanned. I miss my friends. Blah, blah, blah." I'm not entirely sure if it was Third Eye the Third, but it was one on, like, you know, the Piggy's FBI hit lists or most wanted. Third Eye the Third is the first person that came to my mind.
Yeah, I can't recall. I mean, some of the stuff that Phil's been doing lately has just been very boring. So I catch like the footnotes on Kiwi Farms or some Snort Brunel video or something along those lines.
Really quick before we continue, just because of something in your chat. Oathkeeper Roxas 99. No one can move on over death. I lost my father, uncle, and great aunt, and my aunt is basically not talking with my family since your uncle's death, and you'll never get over it. I understand, and I'll say this: you never get over, no matter how long it's been. You never get over the death of a family member.
Or a good friend.
It does get, or a good friend, correct. But it does get better. And with time, that grief that you experience will turn into, hopefully, preserving their memory with the happiness that they enriched your life with while they were here. That's happened, obviously, with my sister since that was 2001. That was 18 years ago. And it's starting to slowly happen with memories about my father, because that's a little bit more fresh in my mind. That was in 2017. But I do really, really hope that you reach that point where you can gain acceptance of what's transpired and hold on to the happy memories. So my heart goes out to you, man. I just wanted to let you know we are paying attention to chat, and God bless, man. You have my condolences.
Yeah, it's a tough one to get through some of that, but, you know, you can do it. Everybody does. And to answer Sunspot, his mods do not get paid, at least according to the bottom line, who actually went over to Kiwi Farms and has his own thread where people ask him questions now, and we'll go over that later too.
All right, let's continue.
He says, I never said to unban him. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, guess what?
Lean in. This is them demodding right now.
You're no longer a moderator, the bottom line is. Until you can actually explain your actions without making bullshit on the stream, you're not a mod anymore. Boy, did he just get caught the fuck out, dude. I mean, wow. That was probably the biggest instance ever of catching someone red-handed doing something
You know we do this all the time with Phil, right? So Phil is feeling how we feel every time he screws up.
I mean, yeah.
It's just weird to see him get that sort of joy for catching somebody. And we catch him every week, every day almost, on something. So, you know, now he gets a taste of how it feels to just hammer home somebody who he caught red-handed.
Even then, I think we all have a good laugh about things when DSP's caught doing something, or he's caught in yet another lie, or something went poorly for him and he raged and he got salty about it. We have a good laugh over it. I don't think when I talk to you, Agent, or you, GTG, and Robin, I've only had the pleasure of speaking with you once before, but I don't imagine when I'm speaking with any of you that you have this shit-eating grin on your face like DSP does right now when talking about the stuff that DSP gets called out on. We're just having a good, genuine laugh over it. This is the face of a man who is reveling, or sorry, let me pig-splain, wallowing in his own pride as being the leader of the pack. He's wallowing in this power that he has.
This is the only place he can have it.
Yeah, that's a fucking Emperor Palpatine grin if I've ever seen one.
Is it possible to learn this power?
Yeah, that's what it is. And I think that Sunspot actually mentioned that in chat, that he took way too much pleasure from this.
At the same time, though, he's through this individual, he's lashing out at everybody who's ever gone at him, mainly the larger targets, if you will. So that's why he pinpoints these individuals. Do any of you guys remember a situation, maybe a year, it might have been even 2 years ago, when this is when his little Gestapo chat was really on each other's necks, and one of them got caught on another detractor stream or something, and Phil called the guy out.
Explain yourself.
Yeah.
You have a few minutes to explain it. Oh, I don't see you saying anything.
Exactly. Same thing.
Yep.
Like he had to. It was like the public pleading before the execution. Give me a reason to spare you.
It was Third Eye.
Was it Third Eye?
Yeah.
It was Third Eye. There you go. Like you can't play both. You can't play both sides, man. You either no. Are you sure it's Third Eye? The guy, he said, you're either with me or you're against me. You can't do both.
Yeah, it was Third Eye because I got banned from his Twitch for asking for if anybody captured the clip of his rant because I was out of the room. And I just said, hey, did anybody clip that? And he leaned in on me and banned me.
Wow, you were one of the OG lean-in manual bans.
Yeah, he's one of the first.
And, well, the thing is that a certain mod that I went and had a nice chat with, I just said, hey, I didn't know, I didn't hear anything, I just want to know what happened, and he leaned in on me. And a certain mod, well, X-mod now, as of last night, just said, hey, it's fine, like, no worries, and he unbanned me. So, but...
Yeah, I really got the air of, like, not giving a shit from the Chunkler.
He really was one of the more laid-back of Phil's mods for the most part. He would mod you if you were an obvious troll, but if you were just in the chat just chilling, he wouldn't do a single thing to you, and he'd probably unban you if you screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was saying he's getting 20 or so private messages over there on Twitch to unban accounts a day.
Yep. Yep, and it doesn't surprise me. When I tried to get unbanned, and I actually got lead-in manual for this, and I didn't realize. I mean, I thought it was a pretty innocuous question. Of course, I was trolling, but I mean, there was no way that it was an obvious troll. And I had to message Popsicolo and Swaggins, and both of them were too busy, and they told me to message a third mod because they were both that busy dealing with other unbannings. And the thing that I said was, when he was playing his GTA playthrough, I said, like, hey, Phil, does it piss you off that there are so many muscle cars, but Rockstar never seems to show love to rally cars like the WRX or the Lancer Evo? And the fact that I said WRX, I was gone. The second I said WRX, he was like, nope, get this guy out of here, has to be a troll. And I'm like, there's no way that that's an obvious troll, because they don't have rally cars in the game. And yeah, I totally believe when DeTroncola says that he's dealing with 20 PMs a day. If, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if he's dealing with 20 PMs an hour with people trying to get him.
Yeah, and I'll show you later on Kiwi Farms that he's saying that there are times where their mod team gets together and says, oh, hey, like, this should be a bannable thing. Go ahead and put it in. Like the whole Neggy thing. Oh, that's a Tevin meme, so now it's bannable. So that's how they were instructed.
Wow.
By the way, shoot me that link. Shoot me a link to that that Kiwi Farms thread.
I will.
Yeah.
So if you can explain why you did that without permission, which you know you're not supposed to do, and then you made up a lie about it afterward. What on earth were you doing, dude? It was a misclick. You have to manually type unban in order to unban someone. There's no way it was a misclick. It proves he typed that out manually. He intentionally unbanned him. You can't accidentally unban someone like that. It's not how it works. Accidentally banning, yes, you could accidentally ban someone. You can't accidentally unban someone, especially someone like Liquid Hindo, who was purposely banned a million years ago. And we've had discussions about unbanning him. The answer's always been no. It's almost like the bottom line is thought that I wasn't reading the stream chat because I was busy with the game, and he thought he could sneak it in. That's what it seemed like happened. Whatever happened to him, Hindo was an asshole. Hindo would always say insulting stuff, you know, and he got warned a million times. He's one of those guys, he got a ton of chances. He got a ton of chances, and he just couldn't learn his lesson, to the point where it was like, I can't just keep enabling this guy by letting him back into the stream chat. We have to put our feet down and say, that's enough is enough. He comes in here and he says stupid shit all the time. So we gotta, you know, we gotta lay down the law, or else no one will ever learn. No one will ever think that it's serious about being banned in the chat if these guys just keep getting unbanned.
Oh my god.
Once I reach $1,000 in donations, I will nominate myself as Rumpelstiltskins. What are you talking about? Nominate yourself for what? Yeah, I hate to say it is hard to trust people on the internet, Tony Hawk.
No.
Especially like that guy. The bottom line is, he's gone by what the
Hi,
Trump
Sadella.
laws and other things in the past.
Tell your mom I said
He
hi.
keeps changing his name, which I don't appreciate mods who keep changing their names too, and you don't know who's who.
Goat laugh.
But he keeps changing his name from time to time. But I thought that he was trustworthy as a mod, and then this is like a huge red flag right now, like a ginormous red flag.
I think one of my main things is, how is he able to keep all those names like in line? Like, how does he keep track of all these people that are banned?
Stop lying.
That's insane to me.
The rule was if 3 mods say unbanned,
We're talking about someone who averages, well, he probably doesn't average this, but let's say he averages like 10 people a night, and he can remember who he's banned from months ago? And you can keep track of all that nonsense, and he's keeping track of their sock accounts too for some of these individuals? Nah, not at all. That's way too much bullshit.
I mean, paranoia makes you do funny things.
It's definitely beyond paranoia if that's the case, because that's just full-blown insanity almost. He isn't far from it at all.
It's memory. When it comes to people that have wronged him or he perceives to have wronged. When I was on my regular, not my streaming account, but my regular Declan Reed account, which was the one that got lean and manualed for the WRX comment, I had helped him out with 3 or 4 different games. There's actually a Snort Burnell video from like 2 years ago where it shows him talking to me when he was on Secret of Mana, the HD remake for PS4. And he didn't know how to get past the Lich boss, and then I helped him again with showing him why he was stuck for the Mana Beast at the end. And he flat out says my name multiple times. Like, Declan Reed, I'm sorry, like, blah, 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 I didn't realize this. And so I help him with 3 or 4 games, really just to see him fucking finish it, because he's boring as shit. Not because I've ever been a fan, but because it's one that was like, hey, move on to the next thing, because you're fucking terrible at games. But the one time I make a comment about a WRX, it's lean in manual. Not like, oh, this guy's actually helped me out before. It's, what do I perceive someone's done against me? And that's why I think he remembers people like Liquid Hindo and Third Eye and everyone else that's ever wronged him or been a true detractor or gone over to the dark side or whatever the fuck it is that Phil says, because he's got the goldfish memory on one side of the people that do good things for him, and really, really awful memories, or really perfect memory, rather, for the people that have done him wrong. GTG, wasn't it Emerald 7 whose name he legitimately forgot? At one point?
He's forgot Emerald 7's name several times.
Yeah, several times. Several times.
Yeah. That's a man that gave him, what, roughly $13,000, if not more?
Yeah, 17.
17, I think they're saying, yeah.
Okay, so 17 grand. That is a brand new car. In cash, if you're buying something reasonable. So, if some guy walked up to you on the street and had keys in his hand and said, don't worry about the taxes, don't worry about nothing, I've paid all of it, the title's in your name, here's your new car. By the way, my name is, insert name here. Would you ever forget that person's name? Or 20 years later, would you be at the bar telling the story like, yeah, there was this dude, blah, 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 blah. Just handed me the keys to a fucking car. Title was already in my name. I didn't have to pay a dime. You would remember that person's name. And yet, he can't remember Emerald 7, but can certainly remember Liquid Hindo and Third Eye the Third and anyone else that's ever wronged him.
Well, it's just like with the Planet Jeff situation on the night of the marathon. He when Planet Jeff finally showed up and ended up giving the 1,000, he didn't even put him up on the leaderboard right away. He kind of held off on it for a little while.
Yeah, he just went, oh, cool, $1,000? Thanks, Planet Jeff. That was it. That's all the reaction was.
Stock response.
Exactly.
But yeah, who was that on Twitter? I think it was like Spirit Avenged on Twitter. Literally DSP's response earlier today. We had a mod last night who lost his mind and is now banned. DSP says the same thing whenever somebody wakes up and does this. They lost their minds. They lost their way. He literally sees himself as a fucking messiah.
Exactly.
I didn't notice that, and I'm glad you pointed that out, because I've always known he was a narcissist, but the God complex is real. And I don't know why I've had blinders on to like, maybe I just was like, no, not even DSP would have a God complex. But perhaps in his own little world, in this bubble of his, where he is king, I mean, he has ascended from king to, like, he's looking at himself like the really historically inaccurate representation of Xerxes in 300. Like, I am the God King, nothing can touch me. And that really is definitely a God complex. That's a good point.
I mean, why do you think we call him a cult leader? The Church of Scientology.
Yep, the Church of Scientology. Mm-hmm. I'm glad we're using that.
The thing is, though, is that God doesn't beg. and that's the conflict, if you will. We've talked about this before, Declan, where he wants himself to be viewed one way, but he's really another way, and since he can't differential between the two, or he can't control it. You see the worst aspects that come out of him, as it pertains to why, if you do anything negative to him, he draws upon you so quickly. He's ready to go ahead and cut you up, compared to the people who do good things for him day in, day out, which falls back into the God complex. That's expected. You're expected to praise me. You're expected to pay your tithes. So if I acknowledge you, that's part of the interaction. That's me coming off my pedestal to go ahead and do that. Pig Olympus, if you will. That's me shining my light of grease and grind on you, and you should be just grateful for it. But for the rest of you assholes, though, you're going to catch this. It's the only way it can be done, because that's what keeps everybody else in line, at least amongst his thinking anyway.
Oh, my lord. Forgive me, and I am going to do this live. I'm not going to mute myself for this, because I don't think I should have to, but Jesus, forgive me for what I'm about to say. This is satire. I am not trying to be sacrilegious. You know I love you, big man upstairs. Thank you. GTG, I think you just pointed out something that is really psychologically interesting, and that is the Piggy Trinity, which is the Father, the Son, and the Gouty Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the vengeful Father, the Old Testament jealous God, Mr. Lean-In Manuel Man.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Son, who will dine with the poor, because he is poor himself. Give up all your wealthy things, because it is easier for a rich man to, or easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. So please, give me all of your wares. Give me all of your hard-earned money, and I will take care of that, because I am humble just like you. Look, to the point where I am almost begging, like a servant, because I am a servant to humanity, much like Jesus was a servant for all mankind. And then the Gouty Spirit is his fucking Twitter account, because it's another positive day, guys. It's another positive stream, another positive upload. You actually have a Piggy Trinity.
Well, yeah, that's what the gout, the doubt, and the snout is.
Yeah.
I quit.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
I quit.
I completely forgot about the names of the gout, the doubt, and the snout. Yes, it's the Piggy Trinity.
Mm-hmm.
The Father, the Son, and the Gouty Spirit. I mean, you've got a man who is both vengeful, beggar, where he sends, except he's not sending his son down, he's just sending himself down to dine with the peasants and get from them. And then he's got, you ever walk into, and I mean, GTG, I believe you'd be more at home than I would. LOL race jokes. Like a Black Baptist church.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I grew up in Philly, but I didn't grow up in South Philly. I grew up in Northeast Philly.
No problem.
But a lot of my friends grew up in South Philly. And I'm as white as they come. Like, you got me and then Mayo, and there's not many shades in between. So, I would go to Germantown and Mount Airy and places in South Philly and West Philly, Broad and Olney, and like places where my lily white ass didn't belong. And one of my friend's fathers passed, and I was the only white kid in a Black Baptist church. And there for the celebration, and let me tell you guys, there ain't nothing like praise and worship in a Black Baptist church. There ain't nothing like it. It is, you talk about, oh, I feel the Holy Spirit moving through me. You feel that, like, you could be an atheist and feel the Holy Spirit moving through you in a Black Baptist church.
Yeah, there's a lot of
energy. That is what his Gouty Spirit is like, he is pumping people up with, it's another positive day, we're going live, we're doing this, great progress in Minecraft today, guys. So, I mean, he's got his online persona as he streams,
mm-hmm.
which keeps the cult in line. He's got the online persona as he streams that interacts with the cult and walks amongst his people. And then he has his online persona on the Twitter account that instills that faith in the God Church of Pigginess, the swinatology. And it's funny because you've pointed this out well before I did with the gout, the doubt, and the snout, and I completely forgot that you already had a name for the Piggy Trinity.
That's right. Everything can be built upon.
Wow.
Fucking
That was delicious. That was good.
I'm definitely hitting some vape after this, and not the nicotine. So, Agent Proper, what happens in the rest of this video, I wonder?
For me.
Before I blow my own mind.
We'll get down to it. We'll keep it going. It's rough.
Me. You know that. You're so full of shit. You're
Reed!
digging yourself even a deeper and deeper grave by lying. All you need to do is be honest and tell everyone what actually happened. Coral Guy, if you're seriously interested about being a mod, contact me. Email me at DarkSydePhil@hotmail.com and we'll talk about it. I'm okay with that because you've been a very long time fan and a supporter, and I trust you. So let me know if you're interested. We won't do it tonight, but like if you want to talk about it via email, let's do it. Okay?
Yep. The Hopper's
Beer
dead.
meat for dinner to be $6.
Replace him
if
now.
I win, name the village Samuel Richardson's Trailer Park. What the fuck? Okay, well you're the top contributor.
Wings memes.
The bottom line is just said, I'm okay with not being a mod. Liquid Hindo was my bud, and a few other mods said it's okay to unban, so I misjudged. Now, you didn't misjudge. There was never a rule, and you know this. You're just full of it. You didn't misjudge. You thought that you could get past me and unban someone who you knew I wanted permanently banned. We've talked about it. You've asked a million times if he could be unbanned. My answer was no, 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 no. Yet you did it anyway. So now you got to pay the price. I'm not gonna ban you because I'm not gonna be a spiteful dick, but like you knew better than that. You tried to get one past me, and it failed miserably, and that's it. Now you got to live with it. Hello, Mr. Jasper. Jasper is back, and he's rubbing my foot. Hello. Drew Music just cheers.
That was a
I wanna
seamless
know
transition.
What mods told the bottom line it was okay to unban Liquid Hindo. I do too. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Random 50-bit cheer out of nowhere.
Let's let it all come out.
Yeah, it's like the RKOs of
He says, I
autism.
wouldn't snitch, I'll take the unmod. He doesn't want to snitch. More like there is no one to snitch on, because if there was someone to snitch on, you would say if there's no one to snitch on, you made it up. That's more than likely the case.
Where's the evidence?
He made it up. I'm not stupid. No, see, that's the thing, Heaving Earth. He says maybe there's other detractor mods. I don't believe that. I think he's full of shit.
Are you fucking for real? You don't think there's other detractor mods?
Nah, dude.
Do you live in your own little world?
Well, yes.
Well, he does, but apparently he's not even a permanent resident in his own little world.
There can't be any dissent in his world. There's the outliers, but there can't be any real dissent. You know what I mean? It's the only way that puts one hoof in front of the other. He has to live that way.
But like, to think that there's no other detractor mods is so absolutely unbelievable. Like, that is the biggest stupid thing he's ever said.
Well,
Half your mods are detractors.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's contenders for that one.
Yeah, there's some pretty good contenders. But at the same time, I do understand where you're coming from. But it's the only way. It's the only way he can maintain control. You know
Honestly,
what I mean?
yeah, like, he has to put up the image
Yes.
that, like, he knows that that's a blatant lie, but does everyone else?
Exactly.
And that's what he needs to avoid happening. The fact that everyone knows that most, if not all of his mods know he's a piece of shit and just try to play into him in order to actually make a decent, half-decent stream.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think DSP feels about that? The fact that he's basically getting moderated by his own mods.
I mean, it's definitely mental gymnastics for sure, and that he's failing at miserably.
As long as DSP doesn't see it happen, it doesn't exist. But he caught DeChonkla. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't see you, it doesn't happen. But he sees you, he's going in on you.
Because he hardly ever gets the chance.
Mm-hmm.
So he has to make an example here for the rest of the cult.
The Chonkla's the martyr.
Yeah, and he's gonna probably try to come grovel back to his little piggy feet and kiss those little pig knuckles.
Yep.
That's like
At least he has. I was gonna say at least he has more balls than Swaggins.
Yeah, Swaggins. I lost quite a bit of respect for Swaggins when he decided to bail on TXT.
And then he humped his thesaurus.
Yep.
That is still one of my favorite things I've ever done.
But just like I said in the my last broadcast or whatnot, he wasn't going to be able to sit down there and debrief and then go back.
Oh no.
Yeah, like he was in it. He was going to have to be all in, like all cards are on the table. He was going to have to do that, and I don't think he could. And he wasn't in a situation like Vidal, like Brightside Viking, where he basically fell on his axe for Phil, and Phil was like, "Oh, you're still alive? No, you're not. Off the cliff you go." It wasn't like that. He, Swaggins stepped himself out of position, thinking that he had a bit more leverage than he really did, and Phil chucked him. Basically, I mean, granted though, leading up to the Swaggins thing, I'll try not to harp on this too long.
Go for it, fam.
Thank you, man. Phil, the weeks leading up to that, had even told Swaggins a couple times, "Hey, man, you're not really needed here. It's not necessary for you to be here. Don't get me wrong, we appreciate that you are here, but you're not necessarily needed." Like, Phil was throwing him hints in the weeks leading up to all of that. I mean, and then when Swaggins finally left the reservation for his brief period of time, and they were like, "Oh, he's going to go on Texas Stream," I was like, okay, that'll be an interesting watch. And then when I heard it got moved, but it didn't get moved, Tevin just messed up on the date there. When it was supposed to actually happen and he pulled out, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes a whole lot of sense. Because there is no going back after that. And Phil knows it. So whatever it was, there was some type of behind-the-scenes deal. Either Swaggins coughed up a bunch of money, or, as I had said in a broadcast for anybody who remembers, I said that Swaggins used the threat of going on TXT's podcast, as leverage to for Phil to let him back in.
That's a very good idea.
Mm-hmm. Well, at least I hope so.
Swaggins is smart enough to play that too.
Yeah, he is. He certainly is.
Completely full of shit, because he would fess up and be like, "Well, it was this guy, and this guy," and then I could have a conversation with those mods about how this is not right and this shouldn't happen in the future.
Oh God.
Instead, he's like, "Oh no, no one did it." So like, okay, that means no one, you're full
That's
of it.
the same
No one
dude
did
from
it.
Final
You made it
Fantasy.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, Phil.
The bottom line is, which is hilarious, that's just his name. The bottom line is about my chat is that there shouldn't be favoritism at all. I don't care if Liquid Hindo is your friend or not. If he's banned, he's banned. Like, those are the rules. If you want him unbanned, it's got to go through me. I have to approve it. This is not anything new. This is not something surprising. It's always been like this. So why you think all of a sudden the rules don't apply and now we can have a mod vote that bypasses me? It doesn't even make any sense. What you're saying doesn't make any logical sense, and it's never been true. So I don't understand why you even think that this is like a defense for your actions, because it's not. It's not at all. Okay. King of Hypocrisy Cheer said, "I'm a longtime fan and a chat regular. I think I have sufficient support from the chat to become the newest mod." No, never. Never. Jim Yusuke says, "I just checked the mod chat. No one said to unban Liquid Hindo. I'm still checking as of now. I don't see anything." I didn't see anything either. I told you, he made it up.
Rats eat rats when they're desperate.
He's trying to sneak in behind the scenes and unban people, and we already know that's not allowed. We know there was a big fiasco about that in the past. He knows that, and he tried to sneak it in. He got 1,000,000% caught out red-handed, and it's over now. I don't put up with that shit. I got no tolerance for that stuff, man. It's one thing, okay. I mean, I was with my friend, can we ask occasionally if he can be unmodded, or excuse me, if he can be unbanned or whatever. That's different. Now, I'm just going to do it. Nah, fuck you. Seriously, the bottom line is, I mean, you violated my trust massively with what you did. That's fucked up, and you owe me an apology.
You owe me an apology, you fucking child.
Well, that's true. An apology won't make the fact that he did that behind the scenes any better, but still, at least I won't be pissed anymore if he actually apologized for it. Because that's the worst thing to me, is like dishonesty. I hate dishonesty. I would rather if someone hates my guts tell me to my face than do stuff underhanded behind my back. You see what I'm saying? So, when someone does shit behind my back like that, that's the absolute worst thing you could do. Because I think that's a little shit kind of behavior. That's like if you're a real coward, you know, that's how you behave, to try to sneak stuff in.
Wait, he says he would rather have someone. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, anyone mind if I pause for a second?
Oh God!
Just hit the pause button.
Really...
Yeah,
Go ahead, man. Good.
Okay. We just heard this man-child thing with his fist in the air, all indignant and self-righteous, say that he hates dishonesty. But he lied about having a cat. Not only lied about having a cat. Okay, let's play into the whole, I had to keep Jasper from the detractors. I couldn't let Mr. Jasper get caught up by those damn filthy trolls. You know, like, so he had to keep his cat a secret for a year or whatever the fuck. Well, then why did he repeatedly say, many times for the past year, I wish I could afford a pet, I just can't afford it right now? Instead of saying, a pet's something we're looking into, or a pet's something we've considered. No, I wish I could afford a pet, I can't afford it right now. Begging for pity bucks so that people could maybe raise funds for him to eventually buy a pet. That's emotional and mental manipulation right there. He lied about cat moving in. He lied about getting married. In fact, the time leading up to getting married, I wish I could get married. I'd love to, but I'm just not in the right financial situation. I wish we could afford it, but we can't afford it. Lied about the Seattle trip, and lied about how much it cost. Said, oh, well, yeah, I would love to be able to take a vacation, but I'm sick. I'm not going to be able to stream for these next couple of days. Or, my internet's magically out, and the Comcast people won't be here for 3 days. By the way, in those 3 days, I'm going to be taking a trip to the Space Needle and taking pictures with Kat and dining in the Space Needle Tower Cafe, whatever the name of that fucking restaurant is. But I do know that that restaurant's expensive as shit, by the way. He has been caught. Yeah, he has been caught in so many huge lies. I mean, fucking Burger King, home of the Whoppers of lies. And has the audacity to sit here with his literal fist. I'm so glad that I paused it on that frame. Literal fist shaking with indignance about how I hate dishonesty. I mean, this man was caught in more lies that were more profound and more dirty than Bill Clinton going, I didn't fuck Monica. LOL JK, I totally fucked Monica. I mean, does anyone remember those hearings with Ken Starr? I did not have sex with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I did not have sexual relations. And then, oops. Yeah, exactly. And then I deceived the American people, and I am sorry. I had an inappropriate relationship with one of my interns. And it turns out that getting a blowjob and sticking a cigar in an intern's pussy is something that is kind of frowned upon these days. I mean, yeah, he had his whole spiel, and everyone was like, fuck yeah, Bill, play the sax and plow that intern. You know, no one gave a shit, because and that was the president that was caught in a huge lie. You know, but DSP, I mean, like, this fucking clown, that just continues to scam people and get caught in lie after lie after lie after lie after lie, and still has the audacity to shake his fist and be like, I hate dishonesty. What fucking planet are we on, guys?
Clown world.
Well, okay, so real quick as it pertains to the Bill Clinton thing. One, the man was just trying to keep his cigar moist. That's all I'm saying. Secondly, I am the leader of the free fucking world. That should have never gotten out. Ever. That dress should have been destroyed. That reporter should be reporting at some local school and can't do shit else. I am the goddamn president. Okay? However I decide to moisten my cigars is how I do it. And as long as my wife has nothing to say about it, with my tie hookers in the closet is how I do it. He should have never gotten ratted out. Now, I'm not condoning, ladies and gentlemen, you cheating on your wife, even if your wife is doing it.
taking 27
goddammit,
flights
I'm
to
the
a certain
president of the
kiddie
world.
porn island.
Oh, well, that's true.
That is
I'm the
it.
president of the United States. I should have never been caught. I should have never had to say I did not have sexual relations with that woman. I should have never had to say that. I should have never been in that position. That's all I'm saying. That's when the presidency lost power. Because goddamn it, if it's coming to me. If JFK can have Marilyn Monroe and then pass that to his little brother, and he can have some too, I should not be committed for anything. Just saying.
Yeah, and a quick aside to that, unlike Hillary Clinton, Jackie Onassis was nothing to turn your nose up at.
Not at all.
Jackie Onassis was fine as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
So if JFK can be like, hey, you see my hot ass wife? Hey, you see my hot ass side bitch? And then pass that off to his brother, then Bill Clinton, whether I agree with his policies or not, I agree with you, should have been like, just trying to keep the cigar moist, but guys, that's it.
That's all.
That's all. Just trying to keep the cigars. I mean, if anything, as Bill Clinton, being a smooth man from the South that can talk like that and get women's panties wet just by making that voice and doing that little bite of his lip and that little shake of the hand, if he can do that and play the saxophone, and he's stuck getting some Monica Lewinsky strange, that's the strange that he's getting. He's like, God damn it, JFK got Marilyn Monroe and I got this chubby brunette bitch. Like, I mean, come on. You gotta think that man had to have been at least a little bit salty. I mean, he's just like, God damn it, he had Jackie O and I got Hillary. Has anyone seen Hillary these days? Do you see what she's looking for? I'm the one that started the name Hildebeest.
Yeah,
that was me.
But Hillary cleaned up the messes, though. She cleaned up the affairs. She kept shit quiet, except for that. She dropped the ball on that one. Other than that, she kept shit together for the most part.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. Is that even as big of a lie as that
cleaning
was? Up. Yeah, as well, she's cleaning up with 2 bullets to the back of the head and calling it a suicide nowadays.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Or Mr. Epstein
Zing.
magically dying.
Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein magically hanging himself while under suicide watch.
Apparently he wasn't on suicide watch.
Then that would have been a violation of because he had already tried to. He was already seriously injured and had tried to commit suicide 2 weeks prior. So I mean,
he should have been still on suicide watch, but we knew he wasn't walking out of that line.
No, he wasn't.
No,
but again, back to the point with DSP is that we had the president lie, the fucking president, and we were like, whatever. Of course, Ken Starr got his panties in a bunch, but everyone else was like, whatever. Okay. He got a little strange on the side. Good thing for banging the intern. Hope she's hot. Oh, wait. Never mind. We've got pictures. They're taking 3 weeks to download because it's 56K, but we got pictures. So, I mean, yeah. But with DSP, did you ever see Bill Clinton afterwards be like, God damn it, I hate liars. I hate people that aren't honest with the American people. No, he shut his fucking mouth because he knew that
anything I say is going to fuck me over.
Yeah, anything I say is going to be like, are you sure, Mr. Cigar Moistener? Mm-hmm. Are you sure about that?
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, are you sure? Yeah, insert John Cena meme. Are you sure about that? Like, no, they're going to be like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't be the paragon of moral virtue here, because you did
just
the thing. You did the thing on the dress, and you left a little bit of yourself on it. So maybe you shouldn't be throwing stones with the glass house you currently live in. He's like, God damn it, I thought it was the White House. And they're like, right now it's a glass house, Mr. President. Don't throw any stones.
But I'm the Secret Service. What are they doing? She should. The moment you saw her walk out of my office, okay. The moment you see me pouring my whiskey and she walk out that office, you confiscate her. You confiscate that dress, and you have that. You have it. You go ahead and get that dry clean. I want it completely eradicated. Period.
Incinerated.
Exactly. If she has to walk out the White House stark naked, then she will do that.
Damn it, I want you to black bag that intern like I should have, because she makes the weirdest O faces, I swear to God.
Jesus Christ.
But seriously, like, yeah, and there you go. And DSP and his mods are like the Secret Service, and like he's now been betrayed by the Secret Service.
Exactly.
But the Secret Service knows, as evidenced by what we'll get into later with the Kiwi Farms and the conversations there. The Secret Service knows in this case that Phil's a liar, that he lies about everything. And as again, we'll get into it later, but the Kiwi Farms thread shows everyone knows. And if everyone knows how, and that's why I had to pause it, and I'll unpause it here in a second. I'm sorry to go on this rant. How is he still shaking his fist going, I hate dishonesty? Because you know all of those, because you know, well, I mean, that's the obvious answer, but you know all these mods in the back of their head are like, this motherfucker right here. Did he seriously just say that shit? Did he seriously just say that he hates dishonesty with all the shit that he's pulled? And especially this being, what, 48 hours? Or is this 24 hours after the $2,000 cat scam?
72.
72 hours. Okay. So 72 hours removed from the $2,000 cat scam. Which, by the way, $2,000 cat scan, $2,000 cat scam, they both cost the same price. Coincidence? I think not. Illuminati 420. But
Hashtag blaze it.
Hashtag blaze it. Smoke wheat every day. But
I'm already on it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dante.
And hello to Dante Crisis. I was wondering when you were gonna say something.
No, I was waiting for a time to turn around and say, God damn it, I did get the short end of the stick. At least Monica could finish a job. Hillary can't even get the fucking presidency.
I definitely agree with that.
Zing!
Ugh.
Damn it, I want it back in that Oval Office again to see what the interns look like in 2020.
If he had a son, it would have happened.
I guarantee you, Monica probably looks as fine as Hillary. Probably even better. I'm sure her tits ain't sagging at least.
Oh, you know with and I'll say this afterwards. I'll save it for after this.
Worse than a pet peeve. That really pisses me off. Because just think about how many people have done that.
God damn it! Say what you're gonna say.
Just publicly, you know.
It's an order from the president.
Instead of talking to me about stuff
Now, see here. Now I want to turn over to Barack Obama.
Things I had done or ways I had
you do what your president says.
Basically, stop talking to me for a year and then make a video about it behind my back. Like, fuck off. Like, that's the most pussy shit you could possibly do. It just proves that you had absolutely no balls to fucking say anything to anyone in real life.
Suddenly got quiet here while someone's talking and I can't.
Gentlemen, we are the council of the most powerful people on this goddamn planet. I need someone to speak.
All right, I'll turn around and say this.
Fuck!
Holy shit. Okay. So, I got something to say. Okay, right. So, how in the fuck? Okay, I swear to God, if there is not a massive fucking revolt, especially after the reveal of that fucking cat, then I'm officially designating Phil's fans as a fucking cult. They are the cult of DSP. They are the cult of Gouts, because Jesus Christ, to give this man literally $2,000 fucking dollars that Planet Jeff had to have fucking been in on, he just had to have fucking been. I guarantee you. If you are not disappointed by that, then you are as mentally ill as Phil says the detractors are, because at least we can see that was bullshit. And I could see I could see that was bullshit with my fucking glasses off. And I wear prescription glasses, motherfuckers, and I'm short eyesight and I can see that far.
Oh, hey, we were just talking about short eyesight earlier.
Yes, we were.
Yeah, Phil never wears his fucking glasses. That's probably why he didn't see this fucking outcry coming.
Well, no, but he always has that thing to fall on where the outcry is from the detractors and the trolls and the people that are against him and the people that for some ungodly reason are, and this is one of my favorite things from him, are jealous. Oh, they're of what, bitch? That you have a cat? I can go to the shelter and find me one too.
I have
not that
fucking
hard.
4.
You are 4 times the man that Phil will ever be with your 4 cats.
And I fucking love all of mine.
I am so glad that that sentence had the word love.
I do. I fucking love my cats.
No, I thought you were going to say, I fuck all of mine. And I was going to be like, well, there are different ways of expressing affection. That's certainly one of them.
I'm Dante Crisis, and I'm here to fuck all my cats.
I mean, Well, I mean,
Questionable.
that's what I think is when Phil's finally going to catch up with the technology of the day instead of doing his outdated methods of using the King of Hate forums and whatnot. He's going to eventually have straw polls, and it's going to be like, straw poll, which cat do I fuck tonight? The human one? Or, and it's just going to say ...
No, you got to remember.
And then it's going to be like a 98 to 2% for the human one, because you still have people like Saru Atari, who probably go in under a sock account, and the furries that are going to be like, fuck the cat, not the human cat. And then he's going to be like, well, the detractors hijacked my poll, so it looks like it's going to be the cat for this evening.
Here's the thing. That is you are giving big massive credit thinking cat that Phil fucks the human cat, because she's fucking him.
That's what I've been saying.
Oh yeah, no, she's definitely.
He takes it right up the ass.
Cat is absolutely doming that bitch.
Oh yeah, no, he's a power bottom for sure.
Yo, Robin, the fucking hilarious thing is, it's a fucking running joke. You say that, but I've made it a damn running joke that because everybody calls cat a horse, that Phil takes horse cock at night.
Wow.
That is a goddamn laughing joke. That is a running gag on my Let Survives. Whenever Phil gets fucked in a video game or says he got fucked by a video game, I bring out the question: do you think Phil gets fucked harder either by the game or fucking his horse at night?
That brings pegging to a whole new level. And
maximum
over I have
pegging.
some concerns there. But we'll carry on with our lovely video here. And try to rein ourselves in.
I do apologize, but as far as which ones he's gonna fuck, though, I think the question should be which ones he's gonna neglect tonight.
Is there gonna be an option of
option
all
C,
the
that's
above?
both. Yeah, that's
probably. But no, I mean, it's what do you guys think the drop off is going to be from this, if any?
Do you mean drop off financially? Do you mean how quickly he's going to drop Jasper from the streams?
No. Okay, drop off from views, from subs, the fallout. I'm talking fucking nuclear proportions. I'm talking fallout levels of fucking a biblical fucking nuclear fucking ending.
See, I don't think it's gonna be nuclear, because a lot of Phil's fan bases are psychotic cult mentality, just like you said. However, recently I've been noticing his low points and his high points both have been down about 25% lately.
Oh yeah, he pulled in 250 viewers the other day for his Dragon Quest Builders 2 stream. On a day stream.
He should be fucking thankful.
On a day stream.
I wonder what he's got right now.
I don't know.
He's live.
I know he's live.
I would
471 for Super Mario 64.
That's for Super Mario 64, and he's not breaking 500. I mean, that's...
Wow.
Yeah. That's very true.
No, I would say...
I question...
And this is with the caveat.
And here's the thing. It's just something that's even thingy to even question. Some Mario 64 is primarily a goddamn fucking speedrunning game. So I question, if you look at it, how many of the top viewed channels right now that are playing it are speedrunning Super Mario 64?
Fantastic question. Give me a moment.
Basically all of them except Phil.
Yeah.
Then he honestly should get more. Because if he's the only one not speedrunning, then hypothetically he should be pulling in the casual audience, the people who don't want to watch speedruns of it.
Yeah, I'm noticing a lot of speedruns of the game. However, the most played thing right now is some dude named Cheese who's playing Star Road. Oh, he's speedrunning it too. Never mind.
Yeah, Cheese05. Yeah, Cheese05 has the world's record for Mario 64 120 stars with an hour and 39 minutes.
No kidding.
I've got something to tell you guys as well about that Super Mario 64 playthrough that Phil's doing right now. I'll set a challenge for myself.
Yeah, well, here's a real.
What's the challenge?
Yeah, what is the challenge?
No. Go ahead. You were gonna say something. I'll say that
yeah. So two real quick things. One, keep in mind the last time I saw he had 60 stars, and it took him roughly 11 hours of gameplay to get 60 stars. So let's do let's do a little bit of math, shall we, lads and lasses? Let's grab calculator.
Fast
Okay.
math.
There's such a thing.
Yeah, 1 + 3 = 12, quick maths. So we're going to do 11. We're going to multiply it by 60 to get the number of minutes. Well, that's 660 minutes. That's easy to get. Now we're going to take 1 hour and 39 minutes, which is 99 minutes. Everyone following me here? So we're going to take 660 minutes for him to get 60 stars. And we're going to divide it by 99 minutes, which is the world record done by Cheese05. And we get the devil's number. 6.66666666 repeating. So, coincidence, I think not. DSP's the devil. No, the point is that the best runner in the world could have done 6 2/3 full speed runs. And we know what, we'll just account for some fuck ups on some of those runs. So let's just round it down to 6. So he could have done 6 full 120 star speed runs in the time that it's taken our boy Filbert to get half of the stars.
Yep. And optimize. And the thing is, I guarantee you, Phil's probably fallen off the map. I'm going to say at least 30 times by now. I guarantee you, Cheese would have only fallen off probably once or twice via fuck up.
I mean, this is a man who's supposed to be able to pick up a game, any game, and play it at a professional level.
But he said he was wrong about that.
Okay, but let's put it this way. I haven't played Mario 64 in close to 22 years, I would say, was the last time that I played Mario 64. I could pick that game up right now and clear it 120 stars in about 4.5 hours, maybe 5.
You beat me on that one, then.
I mean, it's not that hard of a game.
Oh, no.
And the fact that it's taken him 11... Either he is milking it because he thinks he's going to get, like, residual Tardcom from these playthroughs. Well, no, like, from these playthroughs, because Mario 64 Marathon was so lucrative. That he's going to get residual Tardcom from this, so he's stretching it out. Which is, by the way, the only thing he'll ever stretch out in his life.
Hey.
Sad for him.
Dude,
but it's either that, or he is that bad at video games, in which case, what the fuck is he doing being a streamer?
It's a combination of the two. He's that bad, and this fucking playthrough is going to have more padding than Cat's push-up bra.
Oof.
Big yikes.
Ouch.
Yeah, I'm feeling spicy today.
I think that that's actually just to hide the fact that she is in fact a centaur.
Oh yeah.
Hey, centaurs have high strength.
Well, clearly not high standards if that's the case.
No, she rolled a 1. She botched her standards roll.
No, she didn't botch. She put 1 point into standards at the beginning of the game.
Oof.
Hey, intelligence is a dump stat.
Hey, intelligence helps gain you more XP.
Not in D&D, it don't.
Ooh, rough.
But yeah, so...
JD Gustav Windand says Motaro's sister. Big yikes.
That's hurtful.
That is hurtful. That is a brutality right there.
Ouch. Alright, I've got about 12 minutes. Let's see if we can't bang this out.
Alright, well, I said I was going to say something.
That's what Phil said before.
But he could never do it. He can't even finish properly.
He's like my wife Hillary. He can't finish nothing, he starts.
But no, so when the eventual This Day You Don't Play a Mario 64 comes out, I'm going to do a special Let's Survive bit called a Let's Play Along. And my goal is I've got to complete Super Mario 64 in the length of time the This Is How You Don't Play is.
You have to beat it faster than Phil.
Which we've seen from, recorded evidence is actually pretty difficult because he finishes quickly.
Yeah, I think you got that in the bag.
Exactly. That's my plan. I've got to complete it. Any percent. I've just got to complete it. I've got to complete the game in the length of time the eventual This Is How You Don't Play is going to be.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I like it.
Well, I've been doing some of
Yeah.
those lately. I did a play along for
That really fucking
Wolfenstein
gets
2
to me.
recently.
That shit, like,
and
really
what
gets
the
to me.
fuck was the other one?
Like, just
Well,
boom, you hit me on the sore
there was another one.
spot.
I've started
You hit
doing
me on that
Let's
funny
Play along
bone
where I
spot,
play
and now
a
I'm
video
angry,
game along
you
with
know?
Phil, and just to prove that he really is fucking shit. And next week,
But the thing is, a lot of people probably don't
just
realize that.
this is
I
purely for
guarantee
you
when he
guys
did
'cause
it,
I
he
think you
wasn't
guys
thinking
might
that.
find this
It was, "Oh, how
interesting.
can I piss off Phil?" No, he was
I'm
like-
not begging for people to come because honestly, no one comes.
No, well,
go to-
yeah, that's Phil's problem too. No one comes.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, sorry. The other one was Mario Kart 8. I recently bought Mario Kart 8, and I did a play along with me playing through the first 4 cups better than Phil.
I mean, it's not hard. Phil
Hey,
can't
it is.
drive.
It isn't hard at all. But next week on Monday is going to be StarCraft 2: Wings of Liberty.
This is
I mean,
perfect,
I got-
by the way, guys. Just point out what Agent Proper just did with this pause.
I was doing that.
Oh, were you doing the pause?
Yeah.
Okay, well then you did the but this I really want chat to focus on. I don't know if it. Oh wait, no, it paused at a different point on my screen, or is that the? Can you X out of the more videos, Agent?
Why don't you just get on the chat thing, the watch together?
No, I am. I am on the watch together. I was asking Agent Proper to X off the more videos so that people in the chat can actually see.
Oh, good point.
Yeah, I've got a different point as well. Phil is laid back; he doesn't have his fist in the air.
Yeah. I'm just
No,
saying.
let's go that too.
If Agent can just X.
Is Agent Proper dead?
Yeah, did Agent die? Okay. Yeah, on your watch together screen, can you click the? There we go. Perfect.
There we go.
Yeah. So this is really important for the chat to see. Okay, the truth is the Jasper thing was a massive scam that blew me away, and I couldn't stick around after that, and that's the God's honest truth. So
that's coming from just a mod who got demodded just a few minutes prior. So that's rough. How can you stop that then?
Right, and that's what I was going to say. That this is a good point to really let's buckle down and finish up this video and see how Phil responds to a mod or someone that he just demodded saying that Jasper was a massive scam.
He'll react like he has with the other mods he's fucking demonetized, like Swaggins and fucking Saratari.
Yeah, they went crazy. It's their fault.
Yeah, they became detractors. They joined the dark side because we have cookies.
Meh.
Thanks, Idalis Mom.
Indeed, Idalis Mom.
By the way, I'm absolutely certain. Agent, how much are you regretting bringing me on now?
None whatsoever. I mean, this is what the Gentleman's Club is founded for, is for us to enjoy our company and laugh at a pig. And
I was going to say a
into
massive retard. Yeah.
Oh, I want to get my friend back in the chat. Let me try to sneak it in. You know, he doesn't think, oh yeah, so here's Phil, someone with a history of people backstabbing him constantly. Let's just backstab him again to get my friend in there. He probably didn't think about that, you know.
Silly.
Motherfucker, you backstabbed Rambo, you bastard.
The bottom line is just literally admitted that he's an asshole. He literally publicly just.
Yeah, it's interesting no one brings that up.
He was underhandedly trying to hurt me purposely.
Because John Rambo doesn't exist.
That he sat there and, well, I mean, within Phil's fan base, I should say, or the cult, that he sat there and read John Rambo's texts out on what was that, on Axe the King or something?
Oh, yes. When he said that Rambo wasn't going to be doing YouTube anymore.
Right. And I'm the lucky one. I'm the one who was fortunate. Not everybody can do this. Not everybody has talent. Not everybody has this. I understand that I am the exception to the rules. That always stands in my mind every time I hear that nonsense.
No, he's the exception to the rule that retards should be allowed on the fucking internet.
There should be some modicum of an evaluation.
A filtering.
Yes.
A culling.
Not before you're allowed on the internet, but before you're allowed on the internet without the kids' protections in place. And this is something that I actually haven't, and I've done a pretty exhaustive amount of research. I haven't seen this brought up on the farms, and I haven't seen it brought up in a detractor video. So I want to say that I'm broaching new ground. I don't know if I am or not, but yay me if I am. One thing I would love to know, and I would love for a Twitch uh, mod or like a Twitch staff member to explain this to me, is DSP's stream is not rated as a mature stream. It is rated as everyone's allowed. It's not rated 18 plus, which is okay, sure. He curses a lot, and I don't know if that's enough to justify the mature rating. I don't know how Twitch does that. But before the pre-stream, before his pre-tard-cum, the pre-pre-cum, he always plays the same music. And in that music, there's topics concerning rape, incest, bestiality, and homophobia. I can cite each song that references those things. And those play for everybody, including children, for upwards of 20 to 30 minutes before every stream. I would love for a Twitch staff member to explain to me how that's allowed and how that's considered okay. Now, I understand that ultimately the answer is going to be that he's a partner and he makes them a shitload of money so that he's protected. I get that. But it's something that I haven't seen brought up. I don't even know if it's been reported. But it definitely should be.
Well, Twitch makes their own rules when it comes to what they want to filter and how they ban things. I mean, take a look at what just happened. People are abusing their animals, and people are being called out for it. Twitch and YouTube both go, well, they apologized. I guess it's okay. But some dude drops his bird accidentally, and that guy eats a ban?
It's because he doesn't have big tits.
Yeah, it is favoritism. Now, here's the thing. As far as the music, for one, you can change. For one, you can set your stream to be for a mature audience yourself. You can do that. Phil doesn't do that. I don't, and I swear up a fucking storm. I mean, you can hear me right now. This is pretty much exactly what I am on all of my streams. And I don't have a mature rating, and I've never been in trouble. So I think that's something that's just generally across the board anywhere. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I can't say that. As far as the songs, I think that's mainly because they're in a song format. Like, because they're in a song format, and there's a lot of songs out there that go into depths about suicide, about killing people. The songs have a variety of topics. Because they're in a song format, I don't think he can be done for those, because they have been remixed into a song by other people. So even though he plays them, because they are songs, I don't think he can be done with that, because then that opens the floodgates for saying, oh, this song tackles the subject, or talks about the subject of satanic sacrifice, like if someone's playing fucking Behemoth, or this one's talking about a shitload of drugs, like fucking Motley Crue or shit like that. It opens the floodgates to that whole fucking ordeal.
Right.
Fair enough.
Wouldn't that still warrant scrutiny to say, okay, you're allowed to have these topics, but it should be reserved for mature audiences? Otherwise, what is the point of even having the delineation between open to everybody and mature audience if there is not a standard of measure by which Twitch is going to say, if you are going to broach blah topics or do blah stuff with your stream, then it must be reserved for mature audiences so that we're not, somebody think of the children.
Yeah.
I do agree with, I would agree with that, but to me, I would say that would fall under, because then you get into the whole thing of, limiting someone's audience because that you're limiting someone's audience because of what they're saying and stuff like that. Basically, it's people will pull the censorship card. Is what I'm saying. Like you want to swear. People will eventually pull the censorship card on that. Like, oh, you're gonna lock me away behind the mature audience where, like, so a lot of other people don't have mature, because a lot of other people don't have mature that do the same thing. So you're censoring me, or you're censoring all of us just because we're swearing when we can't help who comes into our streams. That's why they have, and that to me is why they have the mature option. No one, barely anybody fucking uses it, but they cover their backs by saying, but we have a mature thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I understand what you're saying, but if the MPAA can do it by saying this is an R-rated film because they say the word fuck more than once, then wouldn't the makers of that film then say, well, you're censoring us and you're limiting our audience? I mean, there are rules in place for a reason. And I agree with you that it would fall under censorship, but this is Twitch we're talking about.
But
and
Twitch has... But what I'm saying is, Twitch already has taken that step. That's why we have the option to change it to mature audiences only. They clearly don't give a shit if a kid watches someone say fuck on stream for about 50 minutes. Because
I see what you're saying. So it's more of a cover your ass thing.
Exactly.
Than it is actually enforceable. But what I find very ironic about that is they don't think that that's worth enforcing, but at the same time, they will ban someone for saying, in my opinion, there are two genders.
Yeah, that's where you start getting political. That to me is when you start getting into a political ideology. Like,
right, but that's what I'm saying is, like, because someone did get banned, I forget who it was, the chick's name. She got banned for saying, in my opinion, there's two genders.
Something Helen, I think.
What was that?
I think it was like something Helen. I remember watching it in
Oh, Helena Live. Thank you.
Yeah, Helena Live. Thank you. It was It's a Gundam video.
Yes, praise be to It's a Gundam. That
guy. My friend Crod would love that.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got.
But yeah, he's wonderful. What was
hey guys, just throwing it out there. I got a scoop.
Oh, damn it, Robin.
Oh man, it's great talking to you, Robin.
Not a problem. Like, glad to be on, and thank you for having me. This was a fucking blast.
It was actually a good time to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
I know, like we always talk on the Twitter, but we never talk.
It's hurtful. It's really hurtful. I'm glad we're able to come together.
Oh no, you hurt the punk's feelings.
Literally, whenever you want to be on the show, just ask.
I'll do so. Thank you.
I keep asking, but no one gets back to me.
That is sorry. Before the window closes, I gotta get it in. That is something else that Phil will never be able to see, or say rather. Is I'm glad we were able to come together.
Oh Jesus! Well done.
Alright, I'm out. Take it easy.
Have a good one. Please check out the links in the description below. There's links to Robin's Twitch as well as Robin and Zypher's channel. They're great guys. Great guys, and they're worth a good talk. So check them out if you haven't already.
Dude, I love Robin's voice. I love Robin's voice. I don't know why. I just love his voice.
Yeah, we'll finish up this video and finish up our podcast here, but it's been great so far, and thanks to all of you guys hanging out with us here in the Gentleman's Club today.
Oh, it's been a blast.
But
okay. Oh, you're right. You will take
we'll
the
carry
ban.
on.
You're absolutely right. You will take the ban. You'll take the ban hard right in your fucking ass. Get the fuck out. You're supposed to be someone I trust, and you're gonna be a dickhead and go behind my back and hurt me and insult me.
Just a point.
You'll take the ban.
The amount of times he talks about taking things in asses, it's a certainty he's a closeted homosexual.
That or he's really into pegging.
Well, you know what? At least it came out publicly. At least we caught it. That's the good thing about this. This is actually, in my opinion, This is a good case scenario, and here's why. Caught it before it got bad, right? Before this guy decides, oh, I have power behind the scenes, let me fuck over Phil by doing this to his channel and that to his channel. We caught it when it was happening and cut it quick. Cut the cord quick before it gets worse. And thank God. Thank God.
Where's the good riddance to bad rubbish? Come on.
Well, the thing is, Phil thinks it's a good thing, but now the bottom line is over there on Kiwi Farms, letting us know everything.
It's not your fault. You saw what he said, right? Oh, you scammed people over Jasper. Fuck off.
But I got to question how long until he crawls back to Phil. They
Who
usually do,
watched all the
sadly.
detractor shit, I'm sure.
We'll find out.
Caught up in all their fucking drama, right? And probably watched for 2 straight days videos about how me revealing my fucking cat is a scam when it had nothing. It's not a scam at all. It was a fundraiser which was already pre-announced. And it was not a fundraiser where you paid money to see a cat reveal. That's literally not what happened.
Yeah, they did.
Who has the mentality of, wow, Phil's in the wrong all the time.
That's exactly what happened.
If that's what he thinks, he can go fuck himself. Get the fuck out of
Yeah,
here.
and
That was exactly what happened is people paid $1,000 for a cat reveal.
Yeah, and that's the thing that Phil wants to key on right now, is that us detractors are upset because he was successful in raising all those funds. And the thing is, the reality is we're laughing at him for it. Because he fucked his fans over completely with this reveal. Mm-hmm. And then 2 days later telling him, oh, yeah, I would have probably revealed Jasper eventually. So he's saying he scammed his fans. Straight up.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
It's just funny to watch it, and now his fans are even lashing out at him. I saw the archived Tumbleweed forum about it too, which is over on Kiwi Farms, because he nuked that forum as soon as that thread showed up. He nuked it.
He should have never came out and told them that he was going to build Jasper. He should have never have said that ever.
No, that was his mistake.
Yes,
he shouldn't have even fucking revealed Jasper to begin with. It should have actually been something tenuous to the point where it was actually worth the $1,000 fucking dollars.
That's true.
Yeah, and I think the only thing that would have worked in that reveal would have been a baby.
Like, Jesus Christ, that's the equivalent GTG of you turning around and saying let's raise $1,000 fucking dollars and I'll reveal something brand new and great for everybody, and you reveal a new fucking a brand new fucking pug that's gonna take place of your avatar. Like that's the fucking equivalent of what Phil did.
It would
GTG
be.
now identifies as a German Shepherd.
Yeah, you've gone from a fucking pug to a pug to a husky. Because then at least I wouldn't be mad at you because I love huskies.
Huskies are arguably my favorite breed, so good on you. But yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it would be like. And what he should have done was he should have said, join me for this fundraiser as we reveal positive news. And he should have had a set time for when he revealed the positive news, if it's just the cat. And it should have been revealed regardless of how much money he raised. And then, even if he had the $1,000 like that he was going to get from Planet Jeff or whatever, then people would have been like, oh, wow, that's awesome. DSP does have a cat. He should have kept his mouth shut about how long he had the animal. You know, if he really wants to pull the grift off right. He should have kept his mouth shut about that. And it should have been, regardless of how much money I get, at this time we're going to reveal something positive. And then he would have had all of the bucks pour in. Oh, look, a kitty. Oh, look at the cute little kitty. Money, 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 money. Internet loves cats. Like, that's how he should have done it. He probably, A, would have made more money that way, considering he was struggling with $200 2/3 of the way through the stream. And B, it wouldn't have looked like a giant scam. And he's even going back on his own word, because keep in mind, guys, this is the same guy that said, oh, I would have revealed Jasper anyway, even if I didn't hit the $1,000.
Then I got another solution for you.
What's that?
I got another thing. Go back to what he was saying. I need to raise, like, going back to what he said, I need to raise $1,000 to help my finances. And I have some positive news. And a A-N-D in that sentence would have made the world of fucking difference to his fans.
Yeah, right, and that's exactly what I'm saying, is that it should have been, we're doing a fundraiser, and I'm going to reveal something positive at blah time.
Exactly.
regardless of how much money he made.
And the worst thing is, sorry, I just got to say this because this is a scientific, this is a proven fact. I don't know how I think it's like 80% proven, but cats legitimately help relieve human stress.
Oh no, that's absolutely a thing. There are service animals like hospital pets in smaller hospitals, privately owned ones, where they actually have therapy cats that go into, like the SICU unit, things where it's not a communicable illness that the cat can actually catch whatever the person has, because there are things that can transfer from people to animal.
Yeah.
But it actually helps with recovery. There was a story not that long ago, I think it was maybe as soon as a year ago, of a hospice that the cat was able to tell when certain people were getting ready to pass on in the hospice, because it was basically an end of life care facility. And this cat would go and sleep with people, like at their side or on their bed or right next to them, like the night before they passed away, just because the cat wanted to make the passing more peaceful.
Exactly.
Isn't that tied to Egyptian lore too?
Oh, I'm sure it is, absolutely.
All right, just make sure. I know I've read that somewhere.
But my point is Phil could have easily also negated some of the fucking, by just doing 5 minutes of research, could have bullshitted his way past all of this fucking, some of this bullshit by saying, I got Jasper because of obviously all the stress I'm going through, quote on fucking quote, and I got Jasper because I read and researched that having a cat in your house and with you helps alleviate stress. It helps calm a human being down. So that's why I got Jasper. That's how we could have bullshitted his way out of this as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, although it's really not being effective right now, because Jasper's supposedly in the room when he's telling one of his mods to go fuck himself.
Oh no, I'm not saying that. I'm on about people are complaining, oh, why have you got a cat when you're so financially fucked and all of that stuff. I'm saying that Phil could have easily negated this by bringing up those points. That because of all the shit that he's going through, he's tightened his belt. Then again, I think he's wearing 2 belts at this point. That he's tightened his belt so he could get a cat because it would be therapeutic for him to help him just get through the days. But he doesn't even fucking research his own bullshit. He doesn't go through the necessary steps to make sure his bullshit don't stink. He don't break out that kind of fucking air freshener.
Yeah, I think it's more, and see, this is something I'm going to have to disagree with you on, is I don't think that he wears 2 belts. I think what it is at this juncture is, like that flexible leather binding that they make whips out of. I think it's that and a boomerang. And it's one of Phil's unknown skills.
It's a long piece of string.
Yeah, he'll just whip it around himself, and then once it finally makes it around the equator of Phil, once it circumnavigates the globe of Phil, he just ties the 2 pieces together.
Yeah. By the way, Sunspot, the problem is, or he could be honest, that's assuming Phil even knows what honesty is.
That's right, true. Which he doesn't. That is such a foreign concept to him.
Yeah, it's much easier to lie than tell the truth.
And I don't think that he's a pathological liar, or at least I don't want to play armchair psychologist and operate under the presumption that he's a pathological liar, because I don't understand fully whether or not that is part of his pathology. But he is a compulsive liar. He feels a compulsion to lie. And if I had to play armchair psychologist, I would say that stems from his childhood. That is something that just became ingrained in him from early youth, where I don't think he got away with lies. I think he was the type of child that was scolded for minor things.
Mm-hmm.
And an X-Man toy.
And didn't want to get in trouble for it, so he felt the need to lie. Now, if he had just told the truth when he was a kid, and like, yes, I broke the lamp, or yes, I did steal the cookies, or I ate the entire box of cereal, or whatever it is that he did wrong, it's something that kids do, it ultimately would have worked out better for him. But I think that he is so fearful of the truth, and I do apologize if you guys hear that in the background. That's my phone ringing. I'm going to try to reach over and turn it off here in a second. I do think that he is so fearful of what reception he'll receive from the truth that he feels this need to lie. It's instinctual to him. It's a survival mechanism for him. And I will be right back. I'm going to mute this. I got to turn that off. Otherwise, someone's going to.
Well, I'd like to. Here's the thing. I have played armchair psychologist with Phil before, and I've come to the point where I do believe this man has severe, almost crippling social anxiety. Given the fact that from everything that has been said about him from conventions, John Rambo, he didn't talk to people, and he felt uncomfortable there. B, the fact that he never leaves the house and only does so for matters of utmost urgency, like the Liana thing, and the fact that he just does not know how to communicate with other people, hence how he talks to his chat, the fact that he doesn't engage with his chat when his chat's on different topics. I've come to believe this man has severe crippling social anxiety because of those reasons.
I can agree with that. Well, especially with leaving the house, unless it's unless it's urgent, he can't leave the house without Kat or without somebody, I should say.
It was the same. It was the same with John Rambo. Yeah, it was the same with Howard and John Rambo.
Yeah.
When he went to a good example, when he went to E3, who the fuck did he bring along with him?
Bro, John.
Exactly. John went everywhere with him. Phil needs that. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm legitimately not saying it's a bad thing for someone who does have social anxiety. Because I'm the same way in some cases. I do have social anxiety, even though, somehow I'm able to talk on podcasts and, be open about all that shit. That's because I've learned to deal with it.
Right.
But there's nothing wrong with having someone as a support mechanism. There's nothing wrong with that. But Phil has enclosed himself so much that he is dependent on it.
That's true. But also you're not running around calling people mentally ill either.
No, because I know that I am, and I'd be a massive fucking hypocrite if I did call anybody else it.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I think that Phil doesn't understand is, and it's something that I'm actually not going to fault him for this, because it's something that society as a whole stigmatizes. And I promise I will not get political here, although I would love to cite some political examples. But when people talk about mental illness, they operate under the presumption that mental illness somehow is an equivocation to bad. Oh, that person's a bad person because they're mentally ill. They all of a sudden manifest in their mind thoughts of craziness or psychopathy or sociopathy. They don't think of mental illness and immediately default to PTSD or clinical depression or manic depression.
Or social anxiety.
Right, or social anxiety, or someone with crippling phobias like agoraphobia.
Arachnophobia.
Arachnophobia, yeah. In Agent Proper's, in my case, coulrophobia. They don't think about those things. They think about the psychopaths, the sociopaths, the neurotics, the schizophrenics, the people that can do them harm. And they clump everyone else in to that one little microcosm of mental illness. When mental illness is, if it were taken at face value, just that, an illness of the mind. Just like we have illnesses of the body, you don't look at someone with cancer and go, oh God, get away from me, you have the cancer, you're evil. You're like, oh, poor person has cancer, let's help take care of it. And if we were to look at mental illness in the same form and fashion that we look at physical illnesses, then we wouldn't have these social stigmas that currently plague those that suffer from mental illnesses. So I agree with you. I don't blame Phil for acting the way he does in certain regards because he has social anxiety disorder, which I agree with you. I think it's very self-evident. What I do have a problem with is that he then denigrates other people by calling them mentally ill and further perpetuates the stigma that mental illness is in and of itself equal to bad.
And I also think
because that's how he's using it. He's using it as a pejorative.
It's not just that, he's using it as a blanket statement, which is one of the problems with just blanketing everything as a mental illness. Is mental illness in of itself is a blanket statement. And that's one of the worst things. When someone like, well, if you didn't want to get political, but let's say something does happen and they say, oh, it's because of mental illness. The problem is they're using such a broad blanket statement. They need to be in the specifics that, oh, this man clearly had schizophrenia or multiple personality disorder. They need to get into the specifics. We can't use the blanket statement of mental illness anymore because it does encapsulate so goddamn much. But the thing is Phil calling everybody mental illness is because because of his social anxiety, never learned how to communicate with people properly.
And wouldn't that come from the lack of understanding and because we're afraid of the unknown? That's why that stigma still perpetuates itself. And Phil, by proxy, is only passing it along because even if Phil identified with even some of the symptoms, well, I don't want to be demonized, so I'll demonize you instead, or I'll demonize all of you.
You're giving Phil way too much credit there. You are giving Phil way too much credit. Yeah.
No, I agree with GTG. I think that I don't want to be demonized, so let me get the first shot in. I think it's a preemptive strike. I think it's Bush's shock and awe that I'm going to call you mentally ill before you point out that I have a mental illness.
I honestly think, and I might be a bit of a bastard by saying this, but I honestly think you're giving Phil a bit too much credit for thinking that way. I just think it comes down to a straightforward situation where Phil grew up, didn't have many friends, so wasn't able to brush up on his communication skills in society or in general, because he has his social anxiety, so he didn't socialize, so he didn't know what social cues work here and there and what isn't acceptable socially. Like, I mean, for God's sake, him using, let's look at his pattern of behavior saying, oh, I am the last remaining Nazi and I must kill all of the space Jews. Like, him saying all of that, him turning around calling everybody mental ill, him turning around and saying all of this other bullshit is, to me, because he never, ever learned about social cues and what is socially acceptable, because he has such social anxiety that he never got out and learned these.
Wait. Okay, I feel what you're coming from. I do. I get what you're saying, but at the same time, we're talking about an individual, because of his social anxiety, because he doesn't interact with other people, he can only go off what he sees. So with that being said, if he sees people interacting in such a way, right, that even if he doesn't understand it, he's looking at these social cues and being like, okay, these guys are ridiculing this guy right here. I don't want to be that guy who's being ridiculed. I want to be part of the group instead of being on the other end of that. And then he just goes with it. Now, don't get me wrong. I can understand why you would think I'd give credit. And I hate doing that. At the same time, he's not the moron that he pegs himself for. Especially in an environment where he's been able to manipulate people for over a decade. You don't get that way for no reason. You don't just wake up one morning and start doing that. That's something that he has developed over time. And all of it, well, most of it, is developed as a defense mechanism in some ways. But I don't think it's too far of a stretch that Phil can identify issues or problems within himself and use and blame other people to hide it. This is what Phil does. He hides anything and everything from people. And he doesn't want to be ridiculed. He doesn't want to have to answer the hard questions, if you will. We've talked about this briefly. So it would, I mean, to me anyway, it only makes sense that he would try to turn the table on someone before they get him. Like you said earlier, it's a survival mechanism. Get them before they get me.
All right, I can see your point. I can see your point.
Now being somewhat of the moderator of this stream, before we end it, I would say that I agree with both sides of this argument here, and it's kind of gonna hit right in the middle for me. A lot of the stuff Phil does is him copying from other people. That's why he does the
it's
memes.
pantomiming.
That's why he tries to bring up detractor memes and make them into his emotes. Because
And
he wants that cash from it.
Agent, just to add on to what that's saying, that's actually one of the techniques they actually treat people with severe autism to do. They teach them to copy social cues. Like, because they don't fully understand them, they teach them to copy them.
But Phil is too uncomfortable to go ahead and get out and try to practice at copying. That's why he's sitting here in this hug box in his controlled environment where he has the say and he has the power because it makes him feel comfortable. That's why he doesn't want to come back to YouTube if he gets banned again, because he knows he's dead in the water. Same thing with Bixer now. He's dead in the water. He goes anywhere else but Twitch, he can't compete, and he can't take that L. But I know that we do have to try to wrap this up. We've been at it for about 3 hours, and we don't need any 24-hour weird ops.
I do apologize. It's because I came in and just started talking.
Oh, no worries. That's what this podcast is all about.
It's about.
At the base.
Yeah,
That's why we came up with it. Is because we want you guys to have a voice, and we want you to go on huge Phil massive rants. That's why this podcast exists, because I think our fans would like to hear those kind of things. Because, you know, you can't go off in Phil's chat and say anything like this. You're going to get a lean in.
I already have.
Yeah,
all of us have.
I should have got one last night. Heck, at the end of that, I was messaging Dacky Smurf during the chat after dark, and I misclicked and put into Phil's chat, oh, he took that $100 and now he's not even going to come back on the stream. You know, take the money and run. And Phil come back in and he told me to grow up. You know, yeah. That was his defense, was telling me to grow up because I called him out on his shit. And he didn't have the balls to ban me again right there.
See, I placed my ban squarely at the feet of David Davison. Like, it is squarely at his feet. It is my own fault, but I can't. Just watching what he was doing, the opportunity was there, so he is a bad influence. David Davison, you are a bad influencer. It is your fault that you were playing Metal Gear Solid 3 at the same time Phil was doing his redemption run. It is your fault that I went into Phil's chat and did a fucking paragraph full fucking commentary like a racehorse commentator about how close you were to catching up with Phil in the game. It is your fault, sir. It is all your fault.
I do remember that stream.
Wait, so just so I get this straight, because I wasn't all up to date with Phil at this time, he was doing a redemption run of MGS3, and then well into that gameplay, David Davidson started an MGS3 playthrough and caught up to him?
He was catching up to him.
Yes, he was.
David Davison started up. I think Phil was inside of where the factory was, where you find the professor, the doctor. What the fuck was his name? But you know who I'm on about, don't you?
Yes.
The dude with the glasses. But yeah,
you're not talking about Otakon.
No, not Archon. This is free. This is free.
I just want to make sure that we're on the same page.
Yeah, it's the Russian one with the glasses. Phil was back there at nighttime. Sokolov, that's it. Sokolov. Phil was back there during the nighttime, I believe. No, I think it was when Phil was back at the fucking electric gates and he was sneaking under the fences where the landmines were, where the claymores are, where where the electric fence is, and you have to use thermal to see the claymores.
Yes.
Phil was there, and David Davison at this time was just going into where the alligators were at the beginning of the game.
Wow.
And I think David eventually caught up to him. But what got me banned is I went into Phil's chat and did like have you ever heard a horse race commentator talk? How they talk really fast and talk about the positions and how close they get and what the horse is doing and shit like that. Oh, yeah. I did a full fucking paragraph of that in Phil's chat and got banned for it. talking about, oh, David Davison is catching up to the race. He's currently at the goddamn, he's currently at the swamp with the alligators. We know that Phil was here before and he got eaten by the goddamn crocodile in the previous playthrough, but did he get it right now when Phil is currently getting blown up by a car Claymore because he's climbing under the mine and he's not even realizing that the fucking wire was electrified and he got shot. Oh my god, we are getting close to the race pit, ladies and gentlemen.
So
I was doing that in Phil's chat and that got me banned. So David Davison, it is at your feet that I got banned.
That's funny.
Damn those spooky, scary skeletons.
Taste my skeletons,
shut up
bitch.
I think I ended it with that.
But yeah,
taste my skeleton boner, bitch. That's how I ended it. Taste my. I'm gonna shut up now.
No, I think that's a good way to kind of wrap this up for the day. It shows that we have a lot more to talk about and that we need to do this again, gentlemen. Because this was very enjoyable. And I'm sure that the fallout from this whole DeChonkla thing is going to get juicy. Because if you check out the Kiwi farms in that form, there are some damn good points being made. So, otherwise, Dante, you got to pass me your link so I can plug them into the description below. But hopefully we all have some projects coming up and some other things that we want to cover. So I know I'm gonna upload a new episode of the Pig Roach Files here soon, and hopefully you guys have some interesting stuff to catch up with too.
Yeah, I'm gonna be going back to streaming starting Tuesday.
Fantastic.
So that should be fun.
I've actually got multiple projects going on right now. It's actually pretty goddamn insane. I've actually upped my fucking streaming schedule to 7 days a week now.
Jesus.
Yeah. I'm now streaming 7 days a week. Mondays I'm playing multiplayer games with my audience. Whoever wants to jump in on the game we're playing on that day, they can. Tuesday I'm doing Nintendo games because I refuse to upload Nintendo games, despite the fact that they lifted the fucking stupid content creator shit. I refuse to put primarily first party Nintendo stuff on my channel. Tuesday is where Tuesday I've been streaming games on high difficulties, and that's currently Dead Space 3 on New Game Plus Pure Survival. Thursday on Tuesday, I'm actually playing Fire Emblem Three Houses, which is my first ever Fire Emblem game, and I'm enjoying the hell out of it. Thursday, I'm currently in the Shivering Isles of Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, so I'm really looking forward to that. I'm finally in the Shivering Isles, and Friday I'm playing anything, because I play whatever I want, so I call it Fuck It Friday. But what I've added is I'm now streaming my recording sessions on the weekend, which right now is currently Saints Row 2 and Yakuza 0.
That's pretty cool.
And on top of all of that, I stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on my other channel, Dark Knight Dante, where I do Let's Survives of DSPs, This Say You Don't Plays, as well as the Game Grumps. This Say You Don't Play.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so Dante be a busy fucking boy.
I do have to make one correction to your own schedule. I think you mean Yakuza 0?
Yes, that's what I'm playing, Yakuza 0 on Sundays.
Yakuza.
Oh, let's not do this.
No, because of DSP.
Yeah, I know.
Playing Yakuza. Everything
from...
has to end in an upward inflection.
And you send it with each other sentence?
Yeah.
Because you're a pretentious fucking prick?
Oh.
Because you've got no real friends?
He did once.
How about you, GTG? Anything on the horizons now that you're back at it?
Yeah, actually, Wings apparently is looking. He's in the market to buy a new Mustang, so I've got to talk about that. And he's actually pretty excited about the new Modern Warfare, and I'm planning on playing it myself too. So I'm hoping to jump into some lobbies when that releases, see what happens. We'll see, put some pressure on him, see how he does. So Wings he's starting to get a little interesting. So I'm gonna revise the not revise, but I'm gonna start back up the Wings report. And also, the chick who beat her dog, she's getting it.
Ooh.
So that's my next target.
Yeah,
too.
just fair warning. James and Lester did eat a community strike for putting the video up.
What?
Yeah, he got his channel taken down for a week because of that. It got cleared up already, but still.
Right.
He got
What the fuck?
a community strike because he showed the video like reporting on it newswise.
But it was only what, like a minute long?
Yeah, and her channel never got hit.
Oh boy.
Well, the
Yeah,
LAPD's fucking
anyone-
investigating that cunt as well.
Yeah, does
Good.
anyone know the name of the woman that did that? Because I would like to research that for purposes.
By the way, one thing, because me and Jackals Layer agree with this. I recently saw a video of I think Wing. It's not recent, but Wings was playing Sekiro. I don't think that was recent. I will say this: if there's one thing I can turn around and say is at least positive about Wings, he has lost the weight. I mean, say what you will about his diet, but he is looking rather slimmer now from what I saw.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, are we talking about Brooke Houtz?
Yes.
Okay.
Holy
Oh,
shit! I didn't
yeah,
know she
thanks,
was channeled
James.
out for a week. Really? Holy shit! Well, it's whatever. She's still got to catch these hands, or these paws. So it is what it is. It's
By the
mandatory.
way, Agent, I sent you the links. They're in the Discord. There's about 3 of them.
Perfect. I'll put those bad boys in that description below, right after I take off. But so obviously, we're gonna have to do this again, gentlemen.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yes, without a doubt.
GTG has promised me a spot on the fucking Gentleman's podcast for absolutely goddamn ages, and it's only now that I finally caught one of yours that I'm able to get on. This lies at your feet, GTG. Do you understand, sir?
It's my fault. I apologize. I haven't actually done a podcast on my channel yet, so don't worry.
I do apologize. I assumed your species. This lies at your paws, sir. Not your feet, your paws. There you go.
Thank you, sir.
Because we all know you're really a pug.
Actually, do you identify as a pug or is it more of a terrier, given the pointiness of your ears?
I mean, he's a
it's
sheep.
It's actually neither one, to be honest. It is a. Let's see here.
He's a sheep.
Yeah, it's a sheep. But there's there's like 3 different types of breeds of sheep.
Yeah.
Oh well, no. There's different Inus. There's the Shiba Inu. There's 6 of them. There's the Shiba Inu, and then which is the smallest, and then the Akita Inu, which is the largest of them.
The largest one, yeah, I'm the smallest one.
To be honest, if the roles were reversed and I was doing GTG shit, honestly, I would have picked if I was gonna pick a dog, it would have to be a Japanese Akita. Because Japanese Akitas are both beautiful and fucking huge.
Yeah, the Akita is the big brother of the Shiba. And yes, Akitas are massive. Males can weigh anywhere between 99 and 130 pounds, and females can anywhere between 70 and 99.
Small bears.
Yep. Male can stand up to 28 inches from paw to shoulder.
Like I said, there's some big bastards.
Yeah.
And for those of you wondering, no, I am not that much of a walking encyclopedia. Google is your friend.
Somebody's tell Phil that.
But do not believe Google Translate. That motherfucker likes to screw you over at any goddamn possible situation.
Oh, I'll save that story for post podcast.
Alrighty, gentlemen. Well, we'll tie it off here, and we'll do this again for sure. And thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I had a great time today, and hopefully that you guys did, and everybody out there in chat as well. I had a great time.
Absolutely.
And we'll keep tabs on this Fog Out, and I've put everybody's links that they sent me into the description below, so go ahead and check those links out, guys, down below. And otherwise, just be safe out there.
All right, guys. Have a great night, chat.
Take care of yourselves, guys.